news to come out today is devastating.
Yeah, absolutely it is. So that's the big story in football today, and it is. We certainly do send our condolences to the Selwood family and all those who knew them. As Garvey said, the football is the main point here at the Sydney Showgrounds. Both teams are out there. We've had our cultural ceremony, of course, as part of Sir Doug Nicholls' round here on Wongal Country in Western Sydney, and both captains have just met in the middle. What do you think we can expect today, Joel, especially from Freo, who come in here seething after a couple of disappointing performances?
Yeah, I think Garby touched on it a little bit there. I think they're up for a game this week. They actually won a lot of the stats last week against Collingwood, couldn't convert inside 50 there. Conversion rate was 12% once they got it inside 50. So I think I'm looking for their forwards to stand up. Obviously, Tracy's a big target from there, but guys like Amos around the side to really kind of get the score on the board and get that conversion up and convert once they can get inside 50.
And Ryan, the Giants, so good down there in Geelong last week, will come in with a lot of confidence.
Yeah, totally. But that win for them down in Geelong, and they have done it previously a number of times. It was a must win for them to keep their season alive. So I think they've still got a lot to play for. They're not out of the woods yet in terms of securing any finals position, but they just need to get some consistency back in their game, and there's probably a couple of their top line players are probably not at their best at the moment, but the other thing, they've got an advantage. They've probably got the best key forward in the competition down there, Jesse Hogan, at the moment. So look, they can give it to him. I know it's interesting, Stringer's out, but I think the more room you can give Jesse and not maybe overcrowd that forward line might play into their hands a bit better, and it might actually help someone like a Toby Green, who I probably think hasn't been at his best this season.
Tip?
I think the Giants will get up there.
Giants for me, but in a close one.
Well, it should be an intriguing clash this afternoon. Twilight footy here on ABC Sport to kick us off between the Giants and Wellullup. Here's Daniel Garb.
Toby Bedford goes straight to Andrew Brayshaw, so that's the first assignment for the Giants tagger, and Brayshaw gets the first possession away. A handball to his partner in crime in the middle in Caleb Sarong. The Dockers go forward. Swikowski's been hit in the first contest of the game, and he's down. That could be a big blow for Fremantle. We'll keep you updated with that. He's slow to get to his feet. Whitfield comes away with it from halfback for the Giants. Gets it to Tom Green on the wing. Moves it forward to the 50-gamer in Callum Brown, the Irishman. He's 55 out. Switkowski's up and moving now, so that's good to see. He was hit hard in that opening contest. At centre-half forward. Callum Brown just spots this up, looking for Hogan, cutting across his Chapman. Sits up nicely for Darcy Jones. This snaps the first goal of the game. 45 seconds in. The kid with the lid, back in the team after that knee injury, ruled him out of the win at Geelong. His first kick is a major. The Giants are one straight six. The Dockers yet to score, and we've gone less than a minute at the Sydney Showground Stadium.
If you're a small forward, you need to watch that. He's front and square, got it perfectly. He knows his role. He didn't fly against the tools there, and just got there and got the great position. It just looked very much too easy there for the Giants. They were quite off their back half. Lockie Whitfield starting that drive, and then Tom Green, who's in some absolute rich vein of form, I think. So I think the Dockers are going to have to put a bit of work into Tom Green, otherwise he will accumulate.
Great start for the home team. Wet week in Sydney. Declan Byrne, we welcome you in. There is no sign of the wet weather this afternoon.
Yeah, thankfully not as slippery as last night. Blue skies above. Sun has set though, so it is coolish down here, but we should be set for good conditions.
Dockers with the second clearance from the middle. Brayshaw loops the handball forward to Bolton, paddles it to the edge of the 50, pushed off it. The Giants numbers fly on top of the contest. The Dockers come away with it. Switkowski to Frederick, the birthday boy. Handball off to Dudley for the instant answer. No, he's just pushed his snap away to the right. Minus score. So some attacking footy in the early 2 minutes. Giants by 5.
Energetic start to this one in Sydney. Saturday afternoon footy on ABC Sport. Great to have your company wherever you're listening. He's Connor Ryden goes short to Jack Buckley. Left half back for the Giants. Works it forward again to Iden.
Just looking forward. Looks like Cox has got the job on Hogan today. Pearce playing out in front.
Iden just backwards of the wing. Sends it up to half forward. Working his way to the front is Cadman. He's coming into some nice form. The former #1 draft pick plays on quickly for Hogan. Just overcooked the kick slightly. And Luke Ryan is happy to see that go over the boundary line in the left forward pocket for the Giants, but that was a nice clunk from Aaron Cadman. He's working his way into some very nice form. Back down to Declan Byrne.
Yeah, just quickly to let you know, Harvey Thomas the sub for the Giants and Bailey Banfield the sub for the away team. Wally, you're up.
Thanks, Dick. Banfield the only change for the Dockers. Toby Green away from the stoppage. He whipped it around the corner. And he missed to the left-hand side with a bouncing snap. So 1-1 plays one behind. 3 minutes gone opening term. Earlier today, of course, the Crows went down to Collingwood at the MCG by 10. And Yarrabilty versus Geelong, the other game at the moment. We'll keep you across that throughout the course of the afternoon.
Luke Ryan with the kick exiting defensive 50 for the Dockers. Picked up by Himmelberg. He's wrapped up by Matt Johnson and Switkowski. So it's the Giants by a goal. We've gone 3.5 in the opening term at the Sydney Showground Stadium. Sarong's trying to get his hands on it. Callahan is right with him. A couple of the premier midfielders in the competition scrapping away, and then Bedford with a nice tackle on Johnson. So a ball up, left half forward for GWS.
A lot of great matchups around the footy. Jackson gets a look at it in ruck by himself today. Here is Callahan along the boundary line for the Giants. High kick on the left boot inside the 50. Cadman's in the pack. Pearce got a hand to it, brought it down. Taken nicely at ground level. Dangerous hand pass from Warner. Turned over almost. Bedford had a play at it. Left it behind. Picked up by Himmelberg. He got caught by Jackson. And the big fella wins a free kick for Walyalup inside the defensive 50. No Sean Darcy today for Freo. So many questions about this man's future and his role as the number one ruckman. He gets a look at it all his own today, and he kicks down the broadcast wing.
Not the best option, though. Went to Amos, who was outnumbered 4-on-1. Didn't kick a goal last week, Jai Amos, as the Dockers struggled inside 50. He needs better service than that. That's a dangerous kick from Himmelberg, though, across his own defensive line. Well done, though, by Buckley. The winner for GWS when he was outnumbered. They've turned it on, though. Turned it over, though. Callahan to Dudley, who kicks quickly inside 50. It'll sit up for Pat Voss in the left forward pocket. Runs around. He'll snap this through. Well done, Voss. Or has it gone all the way across the face? He might have kicked it out of bounds with the full from 3 metres out. Oh. How's he missed that? He did all the hard work, Pat Voss. Just needed to kick it through from just outside the goal square. Granted, he'd run about 35 metres, did have a bounce, was exhausted. But surely should be finishing that, Ryan O'Keefe.
Should be finishing that, but that's some horrible turnover there by the Giants. I don't know what they were thinking there. They should not have given Fremantle that opportunity to have a shot like that. It was just a terrible turnover in their back half, but...
Well, it was a Himmelberg kick from the switch that just put them under pressure. It was unnecessary and created that pressure. But are they looking at whether it's a goal or a point, or is it out in the full?
Don't know what we're trying to...
I'm not sure what we're looking at, but the way Patrick Voss ran away, it's not as if he thought there was a chance he'd kick to Major.
The goal umpire was in all kinds of trouble up against the post and got it in an awful position.
And the reviews come up now.
Umpire's call.
It's a behind. So Fremantle, Walyalup moved to 2 behinds. GWS 1-1-7, and we've gone 6 minutes in the opening term.
It's almost Cameron Ling from many moons ago, missing for right on the goal line and putting one out of bounds on the full. Here's Lockie Ash having a terrific year. Pressure applied by Dudley. It came a little bit late. Wow. So it's not going to be a downfield free kick. Ash will have to take it in that right back pocket.
You can see the Giants going to trying to take this game on as quickly as they can and rattle Freo's defence, but they're putting themselves under pressure by some poor execution of skills.
Move the ball in really contrasting fashions, these two teams. Giants, one of the quickest teams in the comp. Freo by far the slowest ball in hand. Iden measures the kick nicely out of defensive 50. Finds Bedford. He's on the broadcast side between the wing and left half back. He wants to go back inside the defensive 50 as they nurse it around in the back half. Buckley now to Whitfield. He's at the top of the back arc. Handball off to Buckley. The big fella with a run through the middle. A bounce and handballs off to Callahan. Now on to Ashes. They chain it through the middle. He got caught by Voss, who somewhat makes amends for the indiscretion at the other end. And Voss will take it defensive side of the centre circles for the Dockers. They trail by 5. 7 gone opening turn.
The orange tsunami stifled. They find Frederick. And now Bolton, 51 out. Shy Bolton eyes the big sticks and converts. Well, the goal umpire moved a long way to his right as if it was going to be a behind. Shai Bolton has the opening goal of the game for Waliala, carrying on from an excellent performance last week in that loss to Collingwood where he had 28 possessions and a goal. The star recruit from Richmond is starting to find his feet in the west, and in the west of Sydney, he's given Fremantle the lead, 128, GWS 117.
It seems to be a common trend with both Sydney teams, overusing the ball, too much handball, put themselves under pressure. Lachie Ash is a player, I think, with good speed, but he gets caught a lot of times. Just not sure what he's thinking or what he's trying to do with the ball, if he's trying to think to do too much. But again, they had them absolutely on toast. You got the best full forward in the competition. Why aren't we getting it into them? Just overusing the ball and turnover. So that's good punishment for overusing of the ball, I believe.
Ryan O'Keefe and Joel Patfull, your experts on ABC Sport. All up and Greater Western Sydney Giants here at the Showgrounds. Free kick out of the middle coming to Green. Tom Green hands off to Lachie Ash, who comes screaming past, blasts it forward, and the mark's taken by Hogan.
What did I say?
He came through like a bullet, did Lachie Ash. Looked up, went long, and found a man who has kicked 25 goals in just 6 games so far this season. He's the first forward to average 4 or more goals since 2008, when Fev and Buddy had that famous showdown at the end of the season. He's been in rare air, has Jesse Hogan. He comes around and converts. He does it with such regularity these days, and he puts the Giants back ahead. 2-1-13, the Dockers 1-2-8, 9.5 played, opening term on ABC Sport.
Well, that's the one you're talking about, isn't it? When it works for the Giants. And you're right, Ryan. They have been almost reckless in the way that they're going through the centre corridor and really attacking that Freo defence. That time it pulled off, but the time before, Freo was able to stand up. So it's going to be a big test for them whether they can congest that centre corridor, because it's obvious that the Giants are really trying to attack through there and play on that really aggressive, fast style of footy.
If the Giants don't overuse the ball and are clean and don't turn it, they'll kick a massive score. I just don't think Freo will be able to defend them. But they just get themselves into trouble, that extra use, or try to be too cute. As I said, you got the best key forward in the comp. Get it into him. Cadman's got a really critical role, I reckon, engaging Pearce so he doesn't intercept Jesse.
Hogan off the mark against his former side. 1 of 2, of course. The Dockers win it out of the middle through Sarong. Gets it to Jackson. Out in a long lead is Frederick, marking strongly overhead in front of Fonte. Fonte, one of 6 West Australians in the GWS team this afternoon. That's a matchup of 2 speedsters, but Frederick one out that time, and will now kick from pretty much directly in front from about 55 by the time he strikes it. Looking to strike back straight away for Waliala. It'll take everything he's got in his locker, Michael Frederick, to convert this one, and it's off to the left and through for a behind. So the Dockers 139, GWS 2-1-13, down to Declan Byrne.
It was looking really slim at the start, but the crowd is filtering in, especially on this members' side here, at least 3/4 full and a bit less over the other side, as always. But they've come in, the Charcoal and Orange Army.
Yeah, shambles in from fullback, kicks long up the line. The free kick in the marking contest. Jackson flew. In front of it all was Riccardi. He's got the Fraser Gehrig-style glove on again. Ball wasn't tossed back to him on the full there. Umpire let that go from Sharp. Riccardi will take it. Defensive side of the wing on the outer side of the ground. Kicks long up the line. Jackson sits under this one and pulls it in. Nice mark for the big Waliala ruck. He's got it in line with the back edge of the centre square. Giants by 4, 12 gone. Opening term on ABC Sport.
Goes short to Sharp and now to Dudley. He started well, Jackson. Dockers fans love him in the ruck. So many asking why they need both big ruckmen. Perhaps it's time to trade Darcy, a lot of them say, but that call might be taken out of their hands if Luke Jackson wants to go back to Melbourne, as has been reported this week. But he does look so much more comfortable in the ruck than up forward. The former Demons premiership player. It's with Connor Ryder now inside defensive 50 for GWS. Goes wide to Ash. They try to run it out and they get caught once more. The turnover to Tracy. Now Sarong, 35 out. That's across the face, bouncing out of bounds next to the behind post. But They've been caught out a couple of times, the Giants, by Fremantle, who have set up really well trying to stop that wave of run out of defence.
Well, they've set up well, but it's like we talked about before, the Giants are almost trying to do a little bit too much. You can be aggressive, you can play quick, but you've still got to be smart with the way that you move the footy, and Lockie Ash in particular probably just trying to do a little bit too much so far.
Just trying to bite a couple of very audacious ones off in the early stages as Ash. Ball tossed back in inside forward 50 here. Pawellia up, clearing kick from Buckley, across the defensive 50, bounces out toward Voss on that relayed section of turf here at the showgrounds. Voss with strength, got rid of Himmelberg, handball through the traffic to Johnson. And it goes out, and it'll be a throw in just inside forward 50 for the Dockers. Of course, first game back here since round 4, so quite a few sections of turf have had to be relayed. They had monster trucks and all kinds of things here during the Easter show. Spun back in, Riccardi unopposed in ruck in the end, but only down to Wagner of the Dockers, who got a shove from Finn Callaghan, and he'll take his kick from right half forward, looking to put Freo into attack. They trail by 5, 13.5 gone in the first.
Wagner's kick into a dangerous position. Fonte flew. It's turned over though by Riccardi to Bolton. Amos has it now. The Giants win it back through Jones. Ward with a quick handball to Callaghan. Got it to Ash quickly. He might have taken that out of bounds. He has, just behind the wing. So Iden 5 disposals, Ash 5 as well. That tells you the Dockers are happy to sit off a little bit, Ryan, and then try catch the Giants as they run it out of defence, because the halfbacks are getting busy for GWS.
Yeah, you can see this, Freo setting up a zone defence, so that they're encouraging Freo to overhand pass it, put a little bit of pressure, force the kick to their spare numbers behind the ball.
Secondary rucks, Voss for Wally up and Riccardi for the Giants. Voss took it away, but the handball to O'Halloran, got it away to Ward, kick toward half forward. Cox and Hogan go at it. Cox knocked it away from Hogan, but Jesse won the battle at ground level. Handball to Darcy Jones, cedes some territory, gets it back to McMullen, kick off a couple of steps under Jerez, high inside the forward 50. Warner across with the fist, just bounced away from Riccardi inside forward 50 for the Giants. Cox back there to mop up for the Dockers, to Chapman, kick down the line, looking for Tracy. Taylor was draped all over him. And Josh Tracy, who's never kicked a goal against the Giants, takes it and centering kicks a good one to Simpson.
It is. It's an attacking move into the middle of the ground on the diagonal to Erasmus, who's back into this Fremantle team, the former number 10 draft pick. Switches it out wide. That's not his best effort, though. Asked a lot of sharp, and the Giants read it superbly. Buckley, in fact, who got it to Angove, the West Australian in his second game. The 1-2 with Ware. Has a bounce now. Kicks to half forward, Cody Angove. But cutting across was Cooper Sick, the defensive mark for Fremantle. The youngster didn't quite pick the best option there for the Giants. And now the Dockers through Sarong, who moves it forward to Jordan Clark and go into attack again.
That's a nice kick to the edge of the 50. Bolton, 52 metres from home. He's got Frederick all alone. Goes in that direction. He can't hang on, but he's paid the chop of the arms.
That was some really good ball movement there by Freo. You can see Freo getting their numbers behind the ball, talked about their zone defence. So they're happy. They know the Giants are going to play fast and probably a little bit reckless. So they did that. And Ware just blazed away. And all of a sudden, their +1 behind the ball gets it. And then they just kick mark right through there. That was some really good coast-to-coast play by Fremantle.
25th birthday today, Michael Frederick. He missed one earlier. He makes no mistake this time. That's a lovely set shot kick. And he unwraps himself a goal on his birthday and puts the Dockers up by 2. 2-3-15 while you're up. The Giants are 2-1-13. 16 gone opening term. Saturday footy on ABC Sport. Your experts are Ryan O'Keefe and Joel Patfull.
Well, you'd be happy with the start if you're a Freo supporter. Like you said, Ryan, the pressure's up and they're getting good looks at that off of the turnover. So once again, turnover at half-back, work the ball through well. And Frederick's a big one for me today to stand up in that forward line. He gives them a bit of X-factor with that. You know, they are a bit slow with their ball movement, so he adds a bit of speed on the ball and a bit of X-factor. If he kicks a couple there and in for a big chance today.
That's goal 99 of Michael Frederick's career as well. He's eyeing off a mini milestone. It's the Dockers by 2 points. We've started nicely here. City Showground Stadium. Twilight footy on a Saturday on ABC Sport. Great to have your company. They've won it out of the middle again through Michael Johnson, but that was kicking in danger. Bedford dived across it. I don't often see that called, but it was certainly there. So Bedford just behind the wing. Goes inside 50, cutting across is Clark. It favours Himmelberg though. Right half forward, pokes it into the pocket. And this might bounce all the way through. Brendan Cox just ensures it does for a rush behind. So 1 point the difference. The Dockers 2-3-15, GWS 2-2-14. 80 minutes gone in the opening term. Here's Joel Peterson. Twilight Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
There's a bit of a positional change as well. Himmelberg's been up the ground a bit more. He's playing more of a wing role, rolling back into half-back, so keep an eye on that one.
Luke Ryan, the most experienced Docker out there, brings it in long off the contest. Wikowski picks it up, handball off to Murphy. Reid got run down. Terrific tackle and chase by Fonte. He wasn't a match for the young man on that occasion. And Joe Fonte, that's the book on him. He's got the pace and zip to do exactly that. Wins it back for the Giants through Whitfield, and now Iden. Out wide to Taylor on the outer side. His kick to half forward's a disappointing one. And the Warrior up captain Pearce intercepts for the Dockers. 1 point ball game, 18 and a half gone. Opening term here at the Showgrounds. Saturday twilight footy on ABC Sport.
Pearce to half forward. Good contest there by Tracy. Brought it to ground. Erasmus. Now to Simpson. And works it forward to Switkowski. Just behind centre half forward. Plays on quickly for Frederick. Well, he's causing problems for GWS up forward is Michael Frederick. Kicked his 99th AFL goal a moment ago. Can now make it 100. And more importantly, give the Dockers a 7-point lead as we get close to time on in the first term.
Well, what Frederick's doing, he's providing a lot of movement up there. He was up high, they won the ball, and he got back really, really quickly and beat his direct opponent. So he's providing that movement, as Joel said before. He's going to be a bit of a handful if they don't sort of put some work into it.
He's a maverick, Michael Frederick. He's got 2 goals in the opening term. He's the man igniting the Dockers here in Sydney. They are 3-3-21, GWS 2-2-14.
Well, yeah, it's turnover again. So what happens is the Giants are obviously pushing with the ball, and then a player like Frederick who gets high, like you said, they don't have a direct matchup. So then the zone falls apart, and he gets a secondary defender who's not his direct opponent, and he gets 5-10 metres inside forward 50, and it creates that easy opportunity up forward. So someone who's kicked 2 goals in the first, 10 minutes, you probably have to think about, do we have someone play a bit closer, put a matchup on him? Definitely one to keep an eye on for sure.
Well, Freo, they're happy for Giants to get their ball switch and then play on, and they're turning it over, and then Freo have been twice now about to go from half-back turnover all through for a goal. 5
disposals, 5 score involvements, 2 goals, and Michael Frederick's on the bench.
Not a bad little start for him. Maybe keep him out there. Erasmus out of the middle now for the Dockers. Kicks inside the 50. Dudley up to meet it. Roving done nicely by Brayshaw, but Lockie Ash wins it back for the Giants. Now they can burst off half-back. Callahan, low kick up the line. Pearce meets it. Taken away by Jones. Off to Cadman. Little chip to the edge of the arc's a good one. It's marked well by Toby Green, and we know that he's got this kick in his back pocket from right on the paint of the 50 is where Caleb Sarong stands the mark.
He's going to have to. He's allowed everyone to get back.
He's kicked it from here before, from further out, in fact.
Yes. Not sure the torp will quite be needed, but we know that he's got the journey. 17 goals so far this season. 250th next week. He'll be the second Giant to reach that milestone. He's going to lay it off. It's an absolute dart to the biggest man out there. Kieran Briggs, who was all by himself. And now this has been somewhat of a challenge for the big fella, the goal-kicking part of it. Can he finish off? He's 30 out directly in front. Hasn't scored this year, but kicked 3-12 last year.
Who do you back? Toby Green from 55 outside the paint, or Big Briggs inside 30 metres in front?
I think I'd take Toby.
See what Kieran's got to say about that. Briggs hits the post. So he read the script beautifully. 2-3-15 the Giants. Well, he'll up 3-3-21. 22 minutes gone. Opening term. Joel Peterson, Daniel Garb, Joel Patfull, Ryan O'Keefe and Declan Byrne with you on ABC Sport.
I know AFL teams have organised rotations, but you just wonder why Frederick wouldn't stay out there. The form he's in, the problem he's posing for the Giants, the confidence he's got.
Save a bit now to give a bit more later.
Up to the wing they go, the Dockers, punched away from that contest by Taylor. Now socket forward to half forward. Coming out to mid it is Lockie Ash with courage. Ball in dispute on the wing. Ash with the excellent second effort and the handball to Ware. The quick kick inside 50, marked on the chest by Hogan. Excellent work, Lockie Ash. Made that ball his. Hogan plays on quickly and found Cadman deep down there, but he dropped the chest mark after doing all the hard work and getting to the fall of the ball. In the end, his knees dug into the turf, and that forced the Sherrin to bounce up. So boundary throw in, left forward pocket for the Giants. The Dockers 3-3-21, GWS 2-3-15, 23 minutes gone in the first term.
Hogan put that absolutely in the perfect spot. That should have been taken by Cadman there. Gave him a little bit of an excuse, I think, Garbs.
Yeah, Cadman, only he could access it at the stoppage. Jackson wins it down. Hogan now around the body from McMullen on the left boot, high to the goal line. Jones in the right spot again. Great smother from Chapman. Straight up and down the mine shaft, top of the square. Darcy Jones goes once more. Handball cut off by Dudley. And now taking it away is Simpson. Nice wide kick for the Dockers. And Tracy's going to hold things up. He marks just defensive side of the wing. Looks in field to see what's there. He's going to go long and down the line by the looks as he directs some traffic.
Marked it in front of Taylor. That's going to be an engrossing battle. Two of the best key position players in the competition. And then Buckley outmarks Voss in defensive 50. Plays on quickly to right half back to Fonte. Who is a player, Joe Fonte. It's quick, looks composed with ball in hand. A real find for GWS. Moves it up to the wing. Cadman with the leap. Got two hands to it. Couldn't quite reel it in. Tracy with the roving and got it to Bolton. Now backwards to Simpson. They move it around backwards of the square to the Dockers. Now out to Wagner. He'll play on the wing. He's got Dudley on a long lead in space and he's marked it just outside 50. Looks for his options and spots up Voss on a lead in front of Buckley. Couldn't mark. Boundary throw in. Right forward pocket for the Dockers who are 3-3-21. GWS 2-3-15, twilight footy, Saturday afternoon on ABC Sport.
I'm liking the way Freo are moving the ball when they got ball in hand. They're being very methodical, precise, taking their time, not allowing GWS to have loose numbers behind the ball and generate their run from there.
It's Ryan O'Keefe on ABC Sport. Ball tossed back in. Whitfield had a play at it. Back into the mess. Ware lies on top of Murphy Reid in the other game, the Adelaide Oval. It's Yardabulti 1-2-8, Geelong 2-1-13. Late in the opening term there, we'll keep you across it throughout. Jackson at the stoppage, off to Bolton, hooks it around the corner. Shea Bolton misses left. Minor score, 3-4 plays 2-3. We're 25 minutes into the opening term here at the showgrounds.
Bolton's been busy early too, and he's getting probably a lot of space to work. You know, that could have quite easily been a goal. So I just can't give a skilled, classy player like that so much space.
Well, they've gone the tag on Brayshaw, haven't they? So Sarong and Bolton running free in the middle.
7 touches for Bolton. Adam Kingsley did say earlier this week, yep, Bedford will start on one of Brayshaw and Sarong. It is Brayshaw, but he can be moved to anyone who's doing damage. And Bolton is causing them some issues at the moment. Up to the wing, the football goes. Jackson makes it a contest. Briggs grabs his arm and manages to hold on to him and catches him holding the ball. Well done, Kieran Briggs, just as Jackson was about to bounce away from that contest. The big Giants ruckman used all his strength to hang on to him. Goes short to Callaghan, that's barely the 15. Marks it on the logo. As per the regulations this season, a bit fortunate to be paid that mark. Finn Callaghan, been in wonderful form in 2025. Works it forward to Whitfield, who marks and plays on. Now goes inside 50 for Riccardi. He's been infringed upon by Pearce, chopping the arms according to the umpire. It's a big goal late, Jake Riccardi in the win over Geelong. He's 55 out, left half forward. Spots it up to the top of the square. Hogan is lurking. Off hands and through for a rush behind. So the Giants 2-4-16. Fremantle 3-4-22. And we've gone almost 27 minutes in the first term.
Great to have you with us on ABC Sport. Rolling up with the early lead here. Collingwood too good for Guana earlier today at the MCG. It's the Cats by 4 points over Yardabulti and Adelaide Oval. Pearce inside defensive 50 for Wallula. Jordan Clark, who's so damaging. He also was spoken about this week by Adam Kingsley as one of those most important Freo weapons. Long kick down the broadcast side. Briggs took front spot against Jackson. Knocked the way of Wagner for the Dockers. He's able to show them a clean pair of heels. Nice work through the stoppage from Sarong. It's an inventive kick into the centre of the ground. It tumbled its way towards Switkowski, who left it behind. Comes back the other way now through Whitfield and Tom Green, who scoots through the centre. He chips it short to Riccardi. Just in front of the centre circles. Rolls onto the right boot. Goes long. Wants Jesse. It comes up with the foot eaters Hogan. It beats he and Cox and trickles out of play. 30 out from the Giants' goal for a ball in. 1 goal the spread. Dockers ahead. 28 gone in the opening term.
They're just going to be mindful of those long high balls because the Freo defenders are really good at rolling off and coming third man in. So I think Hogan or Cadman will like it just a little bit flatter and a bit more speed coming in on it.
An important stoppage here for the Giants inside forward 50. Briggs and Jackson do a lot of wrestling. Umpire says we'll just let that go. And then there's a tackle on Sarong by Callaghan. They'll have another ball up. 45 out from the Giants' goals. Walyalup lead by 6. Jackson down to Sarong. So they get out of danger to the Dockers. It's Simpson. Pokes it out to Shea Bolton, just outside defensive 50. Possession number 8. Coming up for him. Feeling more comfortable now in that Dockers Guernsey. Starts to direct traffic and works it up to the wing. Well done by Taylor to get in front of Voss. Didn't take the mark though, but Ash is at the fall of it. Found McMullen. By hand he goes to Tom Green. He was under pressure, so he just knocked it on. And then basketball style, Bolton is able to bounce it and then slap it back in. And the ball stays in. Jackson gets low, almost picks it off. It's with Sarong now, works it forward back to Bolton, who might be the beneficiary of all of that. Once again, he taps it into play. Fremantle have some options. Looks for Amos, does Bolton. But standing his ground was Iden taking the defensive mark.
Well, the handle was good from Shea Bolton.
Not sure how much basketball he played, but he must have been pretty handy watching all of that.
Footwork maybe not quite up to scratch. Ash with disposal number 9, kicks to the wing. Hogan the target, taken off hands by Sarong, gave it to Johnson for the Dockers. And now Clark right on halfway, loops a handball dangerously, wanted Wagner, standing in the way was Ango, slips over as he goes through the centre circles, hands off to O'Halloran, inside the 50 to Toby Green, makes the space, protects the drop, runs to the pocket, Chapman was right there with him, umpire waves play on, it's right up against the boundary line. And then Toby drags Cooper Simpson across with him. And it'll be tossed back in. Left forward pocket, Giants into attack. They lead by 1 straight kick. We've just ticked past the half-hour mark in the opening term.
Great defensive effort there by Chapman. Toby Green 1-on-1 inside 50. Stand up and 0-0 draw. There's a great result.
Walyalup with a 6-point lead. Quarter time here at the Showground Stadium in Sydney. It's been a pressurised fortnight for Justin Longmuir to say the least, but his team have started the better here in Sydney. They are 3-4-22. GWS 2-4-16. Adam Kingsley's side with some work to do.
Remember, they were so good last week in that opening term against Collingwood as well. So they do have a lot to do, but it's about as good a start as they could have hoped for in the opening term. 2 goals to Michael Frederick on his birthday for the Dockers. 1 to Shea Bolton. And for the Giants, it is a goal to Jones and a goal to Hogan. At Adelaide Oval, it's Geelong who led for most of the opening term against Yardabalti. The Power have just hit the front by 3 points late in the opening term. Josh Sinn's already been subbed off, and Jason Horne-Francis has injured his hamstring, so they could be counting the toll of a dirty day as well. Yardabalti, but the Power lead by 3 points nearing on quarter time there. Here at the Showgrounds, it's the visitors, the Dockers, who've never won at this venue, ahead at quarter time by 6. 3-4-22 to 2-4-16. But the second quarter very shortly. You're listening to Saturday Footy on ABC Sport.
As each day begins,
get the facts you need to stay informed.
Every day, across your day.
Stay with Australia's trusted news source.
all the latest, all verified. Stay in the know with ABC News.
On ABC TV and ABC iView.
This is the Sir Doug Nicholls Round.
On your radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app.
Alan Brown just spots this up, looking for Hogan, cutting across his Chapman. Sits up nicely for Darcy Jones, who snaps the first goal of the game. 45 seconds in. The kid with the lid, back in the team after that knee injury ruled him out of the win at Geelong. His first kick is a major. They find Frederick, and now Bolton, 51 out shy. Bolton eyes the big sticks and converts. Well, the goal umpire moved a long way to his right, as if it was going to be a behind. Shai Bolton has the opening goal of the game for Walilup.
Tom Green hands off to Lockie Ash, who comes screaming past, blasts it forward, and the mark's taken by Hogan.
What did I say?
He's been in rare air as Jesse Hogan. He comes around and converts. That's a nice kick to the edge of the 50. Bolton, 52 metres from home. He's got Frederick all alone. Goes in that direction. He can't hang on, but he's paid the chop of the arm. 25th birthday today, Michael Frederick. He missed one earlier. He makes no mistake this time. That's a lovely set shot kick.
Works it forward to Switkowski, just behind centre half forward. Plays on quickly for Frederick. Well, he's causing problems for GWS up forward is Michael Frederick. Picked his 99th AFL goal a moment ago. Can now make it 100. He's a maverick, Michael Frederick. He's got 2 goals in the opening term. He's the man igniting the Dockers here in Sydney.
The 2025 Sir Doug Nichols Round.
On your radio
ABC Sport Digital.
and on the ABC Listen app.
He's Maverick off to a flying start in that opening term is the birthday boy Michael Frederick, 25 today. 2 goals for he in that opening quarter for Walilup, and they lead by 6 at quarter time, 3-4-22 to 2-4-16. Joel Peterson, Daniel Garb with you, Declan Burns on the boundary. Ryan O'Keefe and Joel Patfull are our experts at Adelaide Oval, and his subs are plenty. There is a lot happening in this game. It's the Cats who lead Yarrabulti 3-1-19 to 2-4-16. Both subs have been made at quarter time, so Josh Sin out of the game with a hip injury for Yarrabulti, and Jack Bowes out of the game with a hamstring injury for the Cats, but it's Geelong by 3 points at quarter time. Earlier today, Collingwood by 10 over Guana at the MCG. Later tonight, you'll be heading to Essendon and the Western Bulldogs as our game continues and our broadcast continues here on ABC Sport. It is the Dockers by 6 here at quarter time. Ryan, Joel, what have you made of the opening term?
Well, good start for the Dockers. I think the ball movement inside 50 was the key. I think I talked about that before the game, but being able to lower their eyes and hit a target coming out. Fredericks looked really dangerous up there. A few times when the Giants went in forward, they kicked that long high ball on Hogan's head and allowed that third in like we talked about, Ryan. So I think the Giants, they're going to be aggressive and keep playing the way they're going to play, and Freo's up for the challenge at the moment. They're pressure coming forward and turning that ball over and then executing on the back end of that.
Yeah, I think Freo's using sort of the Giants' weapon or their strength to their advantage to force them to play recklessly and kick it to that extra number they got behind the ball. And then what Freo are doing, they're almost defending in their attack by just owning the ball, not allowing the Giants to get the ball, get speed back into it. And they've been really, really good at methodically working it all the way and having shots on goal. And as I said, we mentioned about Fredericks being really lively there, providing plenty of options. And I just think that the Giants, it looks really good when it works, but what's their plan B? And we've seen in some big games in last year's finals and even last week's game against Geelong, they almost lost it because they had to go when they actually didn't need to score in the back end of the game. Sometimes, hey, can we just slow the game, play a bit of tempo? Can we play that game if we just control the ball, a bit of a kick mark chain, march it all the way, get a deep entry to our dangerous forwards? So that's probably the challenge I would put out for the Giants is when it's not working or you do need to save a game or the opposition's got a bit of a run on, have you got a different gear you can play just to own a bit of ball and not give it back to the opponent?
I think they know they have to play that game sometimes. I don't think they're very good at it yet. It's not something they've mastered, controlling the game. It haunted them in the finals last year. So They're being tested right now. Just some stats. We spoke about Bedford going to Brayshaw. So Brayshaw just the 3 handballs in that first term. But Bolton and Sarong have more space as a result. 9 each for them. Lockie Ash, 11 touches for the Giants. And Whitfield with 8. They've been prolific early on this season. Iden with 7 disposals. So Walilup 3-4-22, GWS 2-4-16. The Dockers have come to Sydney and started well. Second term not too far away. Twilight footy on a Saturday afternoon on ABC Sport. Here's Joel Peterson.
Jackson and Briggs to renew their battle in the middle. Nick McGuinness taking his time before he lays it down into the turf here on Wongal country as part of Sir Doug Nichols' round. Bolton with the clearance for the Dockers. Hands it off to Brayshaw. Kicks inside forward 50. Taylor tried to absolutely put his fist through the ball. Voss was up to meet it. He had it knocked out in the tackle. Switkowski then grabbed Taylor. Ricocheted back to Taylor. He hooks a boot at it while he's on his back. It's all across half forward for the Dockers. Now they find some open space. And the boot of Jordan Clark, who is so dangerous. He kicks long. It's away to the right. Just off balance when he let it go from outside the 50. And another minor score for Walyalup. 7 points is their margin. 30 seconds played in the second.
He had a bit more time. He could have been waltzed a bit more and really made them pay. Shea Bolton, the one, he's been super good as an inside mid. He's been really creative, getting his hands on it. He's just getting off the chain, and I think he's enjoying his time playing midfield.
The voice of 2012 Norm Smith medalist Ryan O'Keefe on ABC Sport, alongside two-time best and fairest winner in the Brisbane Lions, Joel Patfull, your experts this afternoon. As the Giants chip it around defensive 50, Ash to Buckley. That's a dangerous kick to Callaghan, but he finds him. The Dockers happy to sit off and then try pick it off. The Giants have worked their way out of the defensive area now from Iden to Taylor. Once again, he's forced to go slow. Come with a defined game plan here, the Dockers. It's working well early. Taylor up to the wing. Pearce in best position for the Dockers, brings it to ground. The Giants have the numbers at the source though. Tom Green to Darcy Jones. He's watched closely by Cooper Simpson and wrapped up just forward of the wing for GWS, who trail by 7 points early in the second term.
That's a perfect example of the all or nothing, isn't it? It's like there was no option through the middle, but the only option they had was long down the line, which they couldn't execute.
No team goes through the corridor outside defensive 50 more than the Giants, and hasn't been available to them a few times so far at the stoppage. Briggs just hacks it forward inside the 50. Chapman got 2 fists to it. It ricocheted away now to Brown. His handball knocked to Toby Green. Flings it forward. Brennan Cox waiting there. So too Chapman. Caught by a couple of Giants. Got it away to Johnson. And now to Wagner in the back pocket for Walyalup. Clearing kick down the outer side. Amos the target. Didn't see it in the first term. Jai Amos, he latches onto this one. An important mark at half back, and Wagner comes streaming past.
That'll give him some confidence. Good kick from Wagner to find Dudley. Just forward of the wing. Goes quickly inside 50. Looking for Jackson and finding him out in front of Briggs. Worked hard to get into attack, Luke Jackson. There's the tight angle for him. He'll strike it from 45. Right half forward. And once again, they've worked that ball beautifully out of defence, have Walyalup.
That's what Jackson needs to do to Briggs. Briggs is a big, strong brute, and he'll love that sort of physical contest. But I think Jackson might be able to get him on that outside with that athleticism and run.
This would take some converting. Very tight angle for a right footer. Luke Jackson into his stride now. It looks very good off the boot, just across the face. Goal umpire had a good look at that one for a moment. So 8 points the lead for Walyalup, 3-6-24. GWS 2-4-16.
Whitfield ambles in from fullback. Didn't see what he liked up the middle, so comes to the broadcast side with a bounce. Kicks long toward Himmelberg. Pearce runs it down for Walyalup. It spills to Voss, who sees an open goal square from 53 out and then shanks the kick. Didn't hit it how he would have liked. It floats away to the left for another minor score. That margin is now 9 points the way of the Dockers through 4 minutes.
Wasting some chances here, Walyalup. Dominating the game at the moment. Lockie Ash has nothing to go to. Dockers are setting up so well defensively right now. It's a big leap by Himmelberg. Now tap to Darcy Jones, snaps it forward. Now they get some breathing space, the Giants. It's a battle between Brennan Cox and Hogan, and Cox ran that over. That might be insufficient intent. It is. Good call, umpire. He searched only for the boundary line there, Brennan Cox.
He only had one thing on his mind there. That was very obvious.
Wasn't the smartest option. As Tom Green pokes this over the top to Himmelberg, who was marked. And he says, I'll go back and try convert from outside 50 on a 45-degree angle to the right.
He's got the journey. He's a beautiful kick.
Let's not forget, spent most of his career as a forward. Still the third highest goal kicker at GWS, behind Jeremy Cameron and Toby Green. The Jesse Hogan is closing at a rapid rate. Harry Himmelberg from just outside 50. He runs around for a bit of extra distance. That looks fantastic off the boot, and it is right to the goal line and just touched for a rush behind. Gave it everything he's got, Harry Himmelberg. Margin back to 8 points. Walyalup 3-7-25, GWS 2-5-17. Early stages of the second term, down to Declan Byrne.
good early test for Darcy Jones on that right knee, which plagued him a couple of weeks ago. Is why he missed last week. He had a kick and landed heavily on it, but sprung back up.
Good to see one of those West Australians in this GWS team. Long kick in toward Jackson. Bolton sold a bit of candy. The give and go with Sarong, and now back to Bolton. He floats his kick to Dudley, who heard Iden coming and didn't want to go crashing into him. That was discretion, the better part of valour on that occasion. And now the Giants chain it off half-back. Ashes handball turned over. Frederick away to Brayshaw. Brayshaw to Dudley. Into the open goal. He misses. And his hands go to his head in frustration. There would have been a few Walyulup fans who had the exact same reaction. 3-8, plays 2-5, 6 gone second term, very wasteful.
Ryan O'Keefe, where do you sit on that? Sort of a player the size of Dudley go back at all costs in all situations, or perhaps be smarter and say, I'm going to come off second best here. Why would I back into that contest?
If it's your time to go, it doesn't matter who you are, you got to go. But if you're not going to do that, then what you're crafting, you're good at, you've got to nail it, which was that goal. So you can't be bad at both.
I don't know if I agree with that. It's a smart decision. I think he's not going to achieve anything by running back, get himself knocked out. He ended up on the end. He should have kicked the goal, but he's got no right going back with the fight.
It's an interesting talking point. A lot of people debate that now in footy, saying if you haven't got the size, why would you do it? But a lot of people say you've got to set standards as well.
Yep.
And everyone's got to go back. Isaiah Dudley thought, I'm not backing into that contest. Thank you very much for Connor Iden coming the other way. The Giants work it up to half forward, picked off by Chapman. Walyulup lead by 9 points. They've left it behind here, the Dockers. They're in some trouble. Angove's there. Looks for Bedford. Luke Ryan's doing some dirty work, making sure it gets locked in. And it is inside attacking 50 for GWS. Down to Declan Byrne quickly.
Brayshaw's come off for a rest. Maybe to just shake Bedford a little bit, who's staying out there.
Briggs spikes this towards Toby Green, right on the boundary line. Might have carried the football over. He has. So we'll have a throw in right forward pocket for the Giants, who are 2-5-17. Walyulup 3-8-26, leading by 9 points. 7.5 minutes gone in the second quarter.
This could be. The Giants are really dangerous in this sort of situation. You've got Toby Green, their forwards. You can see some of their mids are just starting to sit out, but then their forwards can get to work. This is where Toby Green loves to come into the play and show some of his tricks.
Such a good forward half stoppage team. Briggs tried to get it down in that direction. Chapman grabbed it. Jones is all over him. Handball off to Sarong, who blasted outside the danger zone. High kick to the wing. Well done from Buckley, but he slapped it straight to Switkowski. On to Murphy Reid. Feigned the kick, lowered the eyes, kicks inside the 50, and sliding in is Amos, who's marked at 35 out, maybe 40 out, as good as directly in front. Jai Amos can kick their first goal, having kicked 4 behind so far in the quarter. Walyulup.
Sorry, yeah, Joel.
Good composure inside 50. Just held the kick. It was a 1-on-1 inside 50. Allowed Amos the time to come back at the ball carrier, make it easy inside 50. But the Freo midfield, Bolton 13, Sarong 12. Going to have a look at that. Sarong inside's getting some really damaging clearances.
So Jai Amos had a tough week last week. His set shot here on the left boot is beautiful. And after they were wasteful early in this quarter, Walyulup are able to straighten up in front of the big sticks and start to put a little bit of a gap in the ball game. 4-8-32 to the Giants 2-5-17. We played 9 minutes in the second term. Saturday footy on ABC Sport. Joel Patfull, Ryan O'Keefe, your experts.
What I was going to say was about the Giants, how they were set up behind the ball. They were set up really well. Buckley was the last man or the anchor, and he's on his own. But what happened was when he came forward to impact that ball, unless you absolutely impact it and kill it and get it out of the way, what ended up happening, they became really naked behind the ball, and that's how all that space came on. Freo won the ball. Buckley didn't impact enough to get the ball out of the danger zone, and then just created all this space where Amos came in. So it's one of those things, you would know, Joel, when you played defence, that if you're that last defender and you come up and press to make an impact, you have to impact the ball.
James' 14th goal of the season. They need more out of him through the Dockers, the first-round draft pick. Goalless last week against Collingwood, but he's had a good second quarter.
Bit of news from the MRO at last night too, Garby coming through. Justin McInerney, 1 match for rough conduct against Jack Silvani. Joel Amati, 3 matches for rough conduct against Jordan Boyd.
We thought that would be the case.
We did, didn't we?
We did forecast last night that it would be 3 for Amati as the Dockers go inside 50. Buckley leads Amos to the football. We'll have a boundary throw in. So that's a setback for Sydney. McInerney's been in excellent form. He misses a week in the clash against Nam in Melbourne next week. Amadi just came back from that injury and had a really good second half run, didn't he, for the Swans?
But it was no need. The ball had gone. It was just silly. But anyway, we can talk about it at halftime.
We shall. More discussion on that to come, no doubt. Ball tossed back in. Johnson at the stoppage for the Dockers. Briggs just lashes it forward. Found Angove. Hands off to Tom Green. Kicks up the outer side wing. Ryan's best placed. Riccardi reaches over the top. Spills to Pearce for Boyle-up. Handball off to Clark. Nice gather. Now infield to Chapman. Chapman's kick inside the forward 50. Frederick left the space. It spilt back in his direction. He got pushed off it by Ash. 30 out from the Dockers goal. They can settle ball in hand here, the Giants. Buckley to Briggs. Nice work from the big fella. Got it to O'Halloran. Kick down the line's a good one to Riccardi on the wing.
Riccardi turns quickly, wants to play on. Does so to Callaghan, who's in a lot of space in the middle of the ground. The flying fin just guides that towards Callum Brown. That was clever. Looked forward as if he was going to go long and then just diverted at the last moment. And Callum Brown, who will have no problem kicking this distance from just inside 50 in his 50th game, will look for a much-needed major for the Giants.
You can see the Giants are starting to be a little bit more delicate and precise with their ball movement forward, not the full rush, and they're able to pick Freo's defence apart.
Callum Brown, the Irishman, in game number 50, has a goal to his name. Now the Irish jig will ring around the Showground Stadium as is customary when Big Callum converts. An important one for GWS, 3-5-23 now. The Dockers 4-8-32. Wally-Lup's lead cut back to 9 points.
Talking about small players going back with the flight of the ball, I'm going to mention that young Weir went back to the flight of the ball, and what it did, it saved a goal.
I knew you were going to bring that up.
I know, mate. I wasn't going to let that one slip. But yeah, that time and place.
No, you're right. It was a great bit of play. We didn't mention it at the time, but I think there is a time and place for it, isn't there? When you have to go, you have to go sometimes.
I apologise, as is customary, as part of Sir Doug Nichols' round, we have the didgeridoo ringing out. When Callum Brown usually kicks a goal here, there's an Irish tune that gets the crowd going big time. But as is customary and very much welcomed, it's replaced with the sounds of Sir Doug Nichols' round this week.
It'll be back next time, no doubt, from the lad from Derry. First goal since round 1 for Callum Brown, just a 3 on the season. Kicked a couple in the opener against the Pies. You know what he's capable of at his best. 2 secondary rucks in the middle. Voss decisively down for Walialup. He goes after it at ground level as well. His opposition ruck, Riccardi, was next best in the race. Spills out the side. Voss ends up with it. Handball off to Johnson, who got dumped into the turf in a crunching tackle by Callaghan, who's averaging 29 touches in the last month of footy. He's the 3rd overall pick from a couple of seasons ago. Up it's tossed again. Toby Green had a play at it. Johnson grabs it for the Dockers. Spun around as he got his kick away. Bounces it to half forward. Frederick's right there. Left it behind. Ware picked it up. Back into the mess. Taylor tried to slap it clear of the contest. Now Fonte has a go. He got the handball away to Tom Green. Lightning hand pass to Riccardi. And Whitfield can come bouncing off half-back for the G-men.
But he has to go wide because the Dockers have locked up the corridor once again. So he does so to Callan Ward at left half-back. Short now to Buckley. Once more, Walialup set up nicely defensively. A 9-point lead for them. 40 minutes gone in the second term. Buckley will have to go long. Up to left half forward. Underneath it is Cadman and Pearce. Well done by Cadman to make a contest. Sarong got a hand in though. Now wins it back. The superstar Dockers midfielder to Switkowski. And now it's Brayshaw moving through the middle of the Showground Stadium. One handball too many perhaps because Jones was closing on Ryan. They do well to get out of trouble though, do the Dockers, and move it out wide to Tracy, who's got some space on Taylor. Gets around on his right. Kicks deep into attack. Amos will leap at it. Off his hands, Dudley's there. Well done by Fonte though. Clean hands, gets it to Whitfield.
Whitfield, they can go off half-back. Here's Cody Angove. He can use his trademark pace with a couple of bounces down the wing. Cuts it infield, kicked it straight into Clark. Dockers with the ball back. Simpson back to Clark, who runs offensive side of centre now. Chips it short to Brayshaw. He hands it on. Low kick inside the 50s. A bullet from Sarong. Frederick's on the end of it again. He's going to have to kick from maybe just outside the 50, directly in front, looking for number 3.
It just shows how much turnovers hurt you in the modern game. If you turn the ball over, it's just really hard to defend behind. And both teams are just really preying on the opposition turnovers.
For an equal career best third goal, only a couple of minutes into this second term, Frederick lets it go and he pulled the kick. And pulled it badly, out of bounds on the full in the end. Margin still 9 points, 16 gone second term. Let's check in downstairs with Declan.
If not just for the timing, it feels like Brayshaw has shaken Bedford for a little bit with the rotation mix, because he's up to 6 touches for this quarter alone, which is second best in quarter 2.
Well, Bedford's just come back onto the ground. He's sticking with Brayshaw. You wonder if they'll make a change there, GWS. They do say they're happy to do that mid-game, depending on who's hurting them the most. At the moment, Bolton, Sarong, and in this quarter, Brayshaw are doing just that. It's a strong defensive mark taken by Brendan Cox, as the Giants moved it forward to half forward. So the Dockers in control of this one. 9 points up, but their game plan is working perfectly. They are frustrating the Giants' run and catching them the other way. Here's Jordan Clark at centre half back. Now it's the Giants who have set up defensively. That's a nice kick into the corridor though for Carl Warner. He goes wide, looking for Luke Ryan. Ryan will work it up the wing for Wallula. To Cox, who's got the job on Jesse Hogan to start. Goes inside 50 now. Amos will fly at it, as will Voss, punched away from them. They'll have a boundary throw in just outside, attacking 50 for the Dockers. Back down to Declan Byrne.
I mentioned Darcy Jones before with that right knee that he had the issue with a couple of weeks ago. He came off next to the trainer. He's got a fair bit of testing done just then on the massage table, that lateral movement and strength they're testing. He's taken his headgear off. I'll keep an eye on that.
Thanks, Declan. You know how much zip he adds to this Giants team. Speaking of zip, Callaghan comes away with it at the stoppage. Turned back into trouble, though. Handball away to Riccardi. Now to Callaghan across the defensive 50. Outer side of the ground. Kicks up the line, and it's picked off nicely by Jordan Clark. Right on halfway. And the AFL logo out of sight. Chips in short to Warner. Terrific to have a young footballer named Carl out there. Always good. Handball's off now to the overlap run of Clark, who drives it inside the defensive 50. And the man who's been everywhere up front for Wallula is Michael Frederick, who's got it again, 35 metres out, this time a 45-degree angle to the left.
Well, you talk about the Freo execution by foot, how good it's been, but it's actually the Giants' defence as well. They're just allowing too much space in between. They're zoning off, allowing them time and space to hit that lead up.
So for a second go at his third goal, Frederick this time, he leans back on it and it grazes the inside of the post and goes through for a minor score. 10 points the spread, while you're up ahead. 18 minutes played, second term, Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
He's just busy, Frederick. He's on the move, constantly creating space for himself and getting there. So it's been very dangerous. It's just through pure work rate and working hard.
Kicked 3 goals 8 times in his career, Michael Frederick. He should have 4 already before half-time. Inaccurate in a couple of occasions, still 2 to his name.
He's also getting the mismatch inside 50. So it's one-on-one with Lockie Whitfield then inside 50. With someone who's a medium-sized marking forward, Lockie Whitfield shouldn't be stuck in that situation one-on-one.
Justin Longmuir likes what he sees early on. 19 minutes gone in the second term. The Dockers lead by 10 points. Boundary throw in on the wing. Riccardi and Jackson doing battle. Socket forward by Callan Ward for the Giants. Punched away from Brown by Luke Ryan. Brayshaw's there with Bedford still tagging him. And Bedford wraps him up. We'll have a ball up. Keen to see if they stick with that tagging job for Bedford on Brayshaw. Or is he forced to go to Sarong or Bolton, who have been damaging for the Dockers early on. Switkowski with the tackle on Whitfield. And he's caught holding the ball. Didn't do enough to get rid of it, says the umpire. So Switkowski will take the free kick just backwards of the wing.
Set something up for the Dockers here. Sam Switkowski at Adelaide Oval. It's the Cats leading Yaldabaoth by 3 points. Patrick Dangerfield now has his day done as well, so add him to the casualty list with Horn Francis, Sin and Bowes. Crunching tackle from Bedford on Wagner across right half forward for Wallula. It'll be tossed up. 20 minutes played here in this second term. Joel Peterson, Daniel Garb, Joel Patfull, Ryan O'Keefe, Declan Byrne with you on ABC Sport. Great to have you with us on ABC Radio Perth, WA. On News Radio on the ABC Listen app. Giants chain it through the middle of the ground. Lovely kick out in front of Hogan from Bedford. Hogan drops it into the bucket in front of Toby Green. He centres it up to Riccardi. That was trademark Giants ball movement. Riccardi's got a 40-metre kick, slight angle to the right of centre to make it a 4-point game.
There's speed in that ball, but it wasn't reckless. It was really, really precise. And Jesse Hogan, for the key forwards, field kicking is beautiful. I put him and Charlie Curnow. Even when they're up really high and away from goal, their foot skills are so damaging.
As Garby mentioned earlier, he kicked the critical one last week.
That's not dangerous.
That's horrible.
That is the shank of all shanks. That's missed left by a good 5 metres out of bounds on the full. That's a 40-metre kick that's gone 30 metres to the left.
That's the second one now, set shot out of bounds on the full. We had 5 last night.
It's a duck hook in golfing parlance. Let off.
Seen my fair share of those, Garby.
For the Dockers, as have I. They still lead by 10 points as we get closer to half-time. Well done by Murphy Reid. Clean hands to pick that up on the wing and move it forward to Dudley, who has space. And he has bolted inside 50. Finds him, can play on quickly to Amos if he wants. Now the Giants get back in numbers. So Bolton says, I will take my time. And after 13 disposals and a goal, to go with 28 and a goal last week, use all of that confidence I've mustered up across the past fortnight to try and convert this from just inside 50 on tighter than a 45-degree angle to the right.
Well, he's the one, isn't he? He's looking dangerous and he's getting outside of that congestion and creating the run and the carry and the turnover.
This would be very important for the Dockers. 22 minutes gone in the second term. Shea Bolton makes the goal umpire work too much to his left. And through for a behind. So 4:10:34 now, the Dockers. Their inaccuracy starting to become an issue, Ryan O'Keefe.
Oh, they should be well further in front. And it's again, it's about making the most of your opportunities. But look, I think the Dockers are quite happy how the game's sitting at the moment. It's quite slow. It's quite frustrating for the Giants. But that's okay. That's working into the Dockers' favour. That's what they want this game to be.
1-6 to 1-1 so far this quarter, and now Whitfield's caught by Bolton. He tried to step around him, and Shea Bolton came lunging after him. Dragged him down and caught him holding the ball deep in the right forward pocket. No more than 15 metres around.
I don't think he'll miss this one. I think he'll make up for that last kick.
This one is right in Shea Bolton's wheelhouse. Tight in the right forward pocket, footy up the jumper to try and dry it off in these greasy conditions. He'll whip it around on the left boot, and this time he salutes. Finally some reward for effort for Wallula. Bolton's got a couple in the early going, and they are out to a game-high 17-point margin. 5:10:40 to 3:5:23. 23 minutes gone in the second term before Ryan O'Keefe and Joel Patfull on the boundary. Here's Declan Byrne.
Yeah, just quickly, Darcy Jones is back out there testing it, so I reckon these 5-10 minutes for him will be crucial to see if he can run off that right knee issue.
Well, it's a result of the Freo pressure up the field, isn't it? It's not too many times you see Lachie Whitfield so indecisive deep in his back 50, but there's just not an option for him. He's looking to try and use the footy. He wants to go quick. He wants to hit that target through the inside. And the long down the line's not working for him right now. So that's why he's hesitant to just bomb it down the long, because it's coming straight back in. So they're going to have to look at the way they're moving the ball, especially out of their back 50, which has been a concern tonight.
They are executing the Justin Longmuir game plan to perfection, the Dockers, in the first half here in Sydney. They lead by 17 points over GWS. Can they maintain that in the second half as we get closer to halftime? There is Darcy Jones, looking okay on that knee. Emerges with the football in the middle of the ground. Here's Toby Green, needs to spark up his side, the Giants captain. He's wrapped up at centre half forward by Luke Ryan. Will have a ball up.
The Dockers are starting to get their tails up and put a lot of pressure around the ball. It's been really good by their sort of prime midfielders.
Briggs tries to work it forward, socket away from that contest, picked up by Murphy Reid. Here they go again, the Dockers. Brayshaw gets hands to it. Switkowski now, the quick handball to Johnson, who left it behind. Might have been dragged off it. Play on the call. Well done by Brayshaw. Won the free kick after showing some fight there on the wing against Lachie Ash. So 15 scoring shots to 8 for the Dockers, leading by 17 points, and they go inside 50 again. This time the kick is picked off by Callaghan, and now the Giants can go.
On the rebound, through the middle, here comes Jones. He's just trying to weave his way forward. Kicks to the edge of the 50. Callum Brown reaches up to mark. 55 from home. Drops it into the arc onto the chest of Cadman. And the left footer will have a shot 40 metres out directly in front to try and pinch one back for the hosts. It would be just their second of this term.
Turnover footy. As again, you turn the ball over, the opposition's going to hurt you. And both teams, if they can get some speed and space, they're going to hurt you. It's particularly the Giants. So, look, but what they need to do, Giants, have had a couple of shots they should have put away. They really need to do this now.
10th game of the season for Aaron Cadman. 10 goals, 12 so far. He strikes it on that left boot and strikes it true. That's what they needed. And one of their emerging prospects, who comes with such big raps, of course, starting to put his stamp on things here in Western Sydney. 4-5-29 to the Dockers, 5-10-40. 26 minutes played, second term, Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
It was an ambitious kick inside, wasn't it? It was a 40-metre inside 50 to Jordan Clark on the run, which was going to be hard to hit at the best of times. You open that whole centre corridor out when you come into that centre space there. But Giants worked it through well and lowered the eyes, and a few young guys there getting on the end of it. Good to see the Irishman getting involved and being smart about how he went inside 50. He didn't bomb away. He looked for Cadman and hit the lead.
One of the few occasions the Giants have got some run off half-back. That will frustrate the Dockers no end. They've been the far better team in this first half, but their lead is only 11 points, despite double the scoring shots as Sarong soccers it to centre half forward. Can they respond? Walila coming out to meet it, crashing the pack is Voss. Got it to Brayshaw. Now it's with Matt Johnson. 55 out, pokes it into the pocket. Tracy and Taylor wrestling. What a battle that is. Works it down to ground as Tracy. Murphy reads there, but here go the Giants again. Ash to Fonte. Couldn't quite collect it, and Johnson is wrapped up by Tom Green, just outside attacking 54. The Dockers. Voss falls on it now, and we'll have a ball up at right half forward for Walila. It's a great battle, Taylor and Tracy. He'll relish that, won't he, Sam Taylor? He loves taking on the biggest and best forwards in the comp.
He does. He's such a good... Well, I think we've got a plethora of really good key defenders in our game at the moment, which is really exciting.
Yeah, won't the All-Australian conversation be something with Taylor back in that? Andrews, Wiedering, they're all lining up. Speaking of lining up, the Giants do it out of the stoppage. Jones has kicked forward, looking for Riccardi, cut off by Pearce. Handball off to Clark, who bursts away through the middle of the ground for the Dockers. Kicks inside the arc. Taylor and Tracy. Tracy went with one hand. Taylor was latched onto him from the moment he dragged it in. Off the bounce, and we'll have a ball up 53 metres out from the Dockers goal.
He's an animal, Sam Taylor, isn't he? He says, he admits it, when I play against the best, I go up a level. There's something about me that just... I think it flicks the switch in me when that's the case. As Tom Green wins it for the Giants, works it towards Hogan, who's marked just inside 50. We get close to half-time. GWS getting their way back into the game.
I was lucky. I don't think he was trying to kick that sort of kick, Tom Green. He's trying to kick the big barrel over the top into space where Jesse had his opponent beat, but that was a bit of a shank.
Well, it shows how good Jesse Hogan is at reading the flight, isn't it? He reacted so quickly and turned his player and took an uncontested mark, really, in the end.
Half-time siren not too far away. Hogan will strike this from 52 and a 45-degree angle to the right, and you don't see that too often. A shank from the Coleman medalist. That misses everything by a good 5 metres.
That's 3 on the full. Counting.
The Dockers maintain their 11-point lead.
That shot kicking hasn't exactly been exhibition-like. Chapman brings it back in straight to Hogan. He's 10 metres further away from goal, so he rolled immediately. Put it to full forward. Luke Ryan had a bit of a nervous moment. He tried to soccer it off the ground, had a fresh area and had to rush back to make sure that ball didn't go through. And it might be a case of what could have been in that term for the Dockers, who kicked 2 goals 6 to 2 goals 1. They go to half-time leading by 11 points while you're up, but it could have been a more decisive position in the game, which they hold at half-time. It's 5-10-40 to the visitors. The Giants 4-5-29. Saturday twilight footy here on ABC Sport. Terrific to have you with us. 2 goals in that opening half to Shea Bolton for Wallup. 2 goals to Michael Frederick, the other to Jai Amos. And for the Giants, goals to Jones and to Hogan in the opening term. Goals to Brown and also to Aaron Cadman in that second quarter. Cadman's goal at the 26-minute mark, bringing it back to the 11-point margin it is at half-time. In the other game at Adelaide Oval, Yardabulti 3-6-24 trailed Geelong 5-3-33. Lockie Jones has now done a hamstring, so that's 4 players to do hamstrings in that game who are all out of the game. 5th injury of the match, with Jack Bowes already subbed out. So Jack Bowes subbed out, Josh Sin subbed out. Sin was a hip injury, Bowes a hamstring, Dangerfield a hamstring, Jason Horne-Francis a hamstring, and now Lockie Jones a hamstring. So there's something going on in the water over there in Adelaide.
They're falling over at the moment. Over here in Sydney, it's the Dockers who lead by 11 points. Our experts are Joel Patfull, 2-time club champion at the Brisbane Lions and 2-time premiership player at the Sydney Swans in Ryan O'Keefe. What have you made of the first half and the way in which Fremantle have come to Sydney with a defined game plan and executed it so far, Ryan?
Yeah, you can sort of see that they're really playing it. It's a high uncontested possession game, and I think what Freo are doing is sort of defending with ball in hand and just owning it and working it up the ground quite slowly. Then they're getting it in and basically stopping Giants to be able to get them on the turnover and get fast ball back in their play, which we know that's how the Giants are really, really potent. But if you look at it, it's both. It's only been like Giants have only had 3 tackles in. I like this stat. They had like 3 tackles inside their forward 50, and Freo only had 5. That's so low. Both teams have only had like 20 and 17 tackles for the game. You can see what sort of game it is. Let's kick, let's play uncontested possession, or if not, let's get with the Giants case, which I think they made the right decision in that second quarter and were a lot more methodical and precise with their ball movement rather than that massive orange rush.
Yeah, they're almost allowing the Giants to come forward and just waiting for a mistake, aren't they? And then they're pouncing on that mistake. And when they have gone quick, they've actually been pretty impressive. I know they've been talked about with their slow ball movement and not getting it inside 50 quickly, but when they have gone, they've been able to use hands well and link up with their forwards. So, I mean, it feels a little bit more like the Fremantle side that we're used to of the last couple of seasons with the way they've moved the footy, and I think they've been impressed with their pressure and the ability to turn the footy over.
It feels like a big moment right now for Justin Longmuir and the Dockers. I mean, he's under big pressure there in the West. They're coming to one of the premiership contenders with a defined game plan. They've worked it well so far, but there's a big half of football to come. If they can carry this on, it just changes the way he's looked, I think, a little bit there in Perth. It takes a lot of pressure on him. They're still in a good place this season. This feels like a huge half in his coaching career and Fremantle's season.
Well, you're right. I think the game plan they got is working. They're 10 more inside 50s than the Giants at the moment. So that is definitely working. And the Giants haven't really been able to hurt them. So can they sustain that for another two quarters? And that's the key to this game.
I have to say as well, Luke Jackson as the number 1 ruck, I like the look of. He looks mobile, he's getting around the ground well, and he's really competing with Briggs in the middle. So it's a big conversation they're going to have off the back of this game as well.
The win would get them to 5-5 while you're up, and then they've got Port Adelaide at home next week, and then the Gold Coast Suns away before they get to the bye. So there's, you could be 4-8, or you could be in a sort of much healthier position potentially, with, of course, so much riding on where they get to. Ryan, what kind of conversations do you think the Giants would be having at halftime in the way that they want to change what they're doing to combat what Freo is doing to them?
Well, first of all, you can say Freo playing a kick mark game. We can't allow them to get that kick mark chain, so we've got to shut that down. We don't want to be turning the ball over in our back half and trying to score all our scores from the back half, because that's harder. We'd rather turn the ball closer to our own goals, and then we've got space for our forwards to do. So that's one thing I'd be doing, the Giants, is trying to shut down the way they want to move the ball. Because I'd be going, if I was Adam Kingsley, hey boys, they're just trying to starve us of our own ball. We've got to get it back off them. So can we just tighten up and not let them get these chains? The other thing too is Sarong and Bolton. We've got to do something about that. We can't, and I think if you go off Bradshaw, he's probably going to get in the game as well. So I'd probably maybe stick to that and have to snuff one. But the other mids have to be two-way mids. Like Callahan and Green are A-graders, but they've got to give respect to these other 2 midfielders for Freo, because they're hurting them as well. So I think for Freo, they're going to be very reliant on Sarong, on Bolton, on Brayshaw to get their drive, where I think the Giants probably got a little bit more depth in their team. They're not reliant on Green and Callahan to get them over the line. So that's where I'd say, well, let's cut Freo's supply. Let's cut their good players out. Let's see if these bottom-tier players can beat us.
What are the numbers for Sarong and Bolton at halftime?
Sarong, 17 disposals, 4 score involvements. Bolton, 15 and a couple of goals. He's been fantastic with 7 contested possessions as well. That big tackle inside 50 on Whitfield late in that second quarter for his second major. Clark is 12 and Brayshaw 12 after 3 at quarter time, worked his way into the game nicely. He's being tagged by Bedford. For the Giants, Lockie Ashes 16, Whitfield 15, Green 14 and Callahan 13. Toby Green just the 5, so it's Warner with the job on him, and he's doing it pretty nicely at the moment, trying to keep the Giants captain from being as damaging as he usually is. So yeah, it's in a very nice place for the Dockers at the moment, but if they can keep this game plan going, which is, I dare say, fairly taxing mentally and physically, that's going to be a huge watch in the second half.
Yeah, it's similar to what Adelaide did a few weeks ago against the Giants. Hopefully we get a little bit more scoring in the second half than we did on that pretty wet night at the Adelaide Oval, Joel.
Well, they're definitely starving them, aren't they? So the Giants have got a lot to think about at halftime and work that through. It's almost as if they got a little bit gun-shy in that first 10 minutes when they turned off that. They were going, almost recklessly through the centre square, and they turned a few over, so then they resorted to slow play. They can't find that balance of hitting that target and shifting that Fremantle zone and finding their way through, because once you hit 3 or 4 targets in a row, that zone moves, you switch, the zone moves again, and you start to find those gaps rather than going long down the line and creating pressure again.
And if I was in the Freo rooms and I'm just talking to the boys, I'll be like, boys, we're executing it really well. Let's keep it up. The only way the Giants are going to get it is if we're going to do turnovers like that. I think Brayshaw try to pick that impossible kick off half back and bang, Giants score. Let's not give him that, boys. We know the game plan's working, so let's have faith in it. We're just got to do one more half of footy and we've got this win.
Yeah, it's fascinatingly poised at half-time this game at Adelaide Oval. It's the Cats over Yardabulti by 9 points, 5-3, 33 to 3-6, 24. In the National Rugby League, the Warriors too good for the Dolphins earlier today. The Cowboys and the Sea Eagles is starting, well, right about now, so we'll keep you updated on that one as we go throughout as well. Half-time here at the Showgrounds. It is Wallil up 5-10-40. The Giants 4-5-29. Much more to come, including the second half. For now, though, let's take you to the latest from ABC News.
ABC News, I'm Thanmaya Navada. Analysts expect the National Party to come into coalition negotiations with the Liberal Party with greater strength following the federal election. The Liberal Party is currently projected to win 18 or 19 seats, with Bradfield in New South Wales still in doubt, down from 27 in the previous parliament. The Queensland Liberal National Party will have 5 less seats in the House, while the Nationals have only lost 1, from 10 down to 9. Political lecturer Jill Shepherd from ANU says it shows the National Party vote remains strong, and that may carry over into coalition negotiations.
I think finally they might get a little bit more than they expected in these negotiations. I think this might be their time to actually throw some weight around. I don't think the Libs are as strong going into negotiations as they have been in the past.
The Foreign Minister is calling the imprisonment of Australian man Oscar Jenkins in Russia the result of a sham trial. Mr Jenkins was detained last year while fighting with Ukraine and has now been sentenced to 13 years after being found guilty by Moscow of fighting as a mercenary. But Penny Wong says the 33-year-old from Melbourne was a full-serving member of the Ukrainian armed forces, making him a prisoner of war, and says that he should be treated in accordance with international humanitarian law. Meanwhile, Ukrainian authorities say at least 9 people have been killed as a result of a Russian strike on a civilian bus in the Sumy region. Russian state media says forces struck a Ukrainian military equipment staging area. The head of the Sumy region's military administration, Ihor Tukachenko, says the toll could still rise further.
The attack occurred as the bus was leaving the city of Biloupilya. As a result of this inhumane strike, there are fatalities and injuries. The exact number of casualties is being clarified.
Israel says it's launched renewed strikes in Gaza to dismantle Hamas, free the remaining hostages and take control of areas within the territory. Here's the BBC's Wira Davis.
With no sign of progress in ceasefire talks, Israel stepping up its military operations, and hundreds of people have been killed in recent days. But one senior UN official said the attacks, combined with Israel's aid blockade, amounted to a campaign of ethnic cleansing. In recent weeks, there's been growing and glaring evidence of a dire humanitarian crisis in Gaza. According to the United Nations and several aid agencies, there's a real risk of famine as a direct result of the blockade.
Dozens of protesters have been demanding the return of an American resident deported despite a court-issued protection order in the U.S. state of Maryland. Kilmer Abrego Garcia remains in custody in El Salvador more than 2 months after his removal. A district judge has convened a hearing to review the administration's compliance with her order, saying the lack of detail provided by the government is making the case an exercise in utter frustration. Alma Frimpong from the immigrants' rights advocacy group CASA says the case is part of broader concerns about racial justice and immigration policy.
What is happening to Kilmer is all part of Trump and the administration's bigger strategy to erase black and brown people from this country and inch us closer and closer to white supremacy.
Back home, 2 people have died after an accident on the New South Wales far south coast. Police say 2 cars collided on the Princes Highway near Kaya, south of Eden, early this afternoon, and that 2 occupants of 1 car have been killed. 2 people in the other vehicle, a woman and a man, both in their 60s, have suffered minor injuries. The highway remains closed in both directions and drivers are being urged to avoid the area. Agriculture Victoria has found another detection of a destructive tomato virus at Northern Victorian producer Katanga Fresh. Charmaine Manuel has more.
The tomato grower was put into quarantine in January this year and cut more than 100 jobs when the tomato brown rugose fruit virus was detected on site. The virus can destroy crop yields by 70% but poses no health risks to humans. Biosecurity measures are in place and stringent testing led to the latest detection. Agriculture Victoria says it's unlikely the virus originated from the site as the seedlings had only been on the property for a few days. The seedlings were sourced from a commercial nursery in New South Wales. Quarantine controls remain in place.
And you are all up to date with the latest from ABC News. For more news at any time, you can download the ABC Listen app.
The World Test Championship is coming.
He gets connection here, lifts it over the keeper, 1 bounce for 4.
Australia versus South Africa.
And he nicks it, he's got him again.
Catch every ball on the ABC Listen app. This is the Sir Doug Nicholls round.
On your radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app.
Slapped it straight to Switkowski, on to Murphy Reid, feigned the kick, lowered the eyes, kicks inside the 50, and sliding in is Amos. Jai Amos had a tough week last week. His set shot here on the left boot is beautiful. And after they were wasteful early in this quarter, Walyala are able to straighten up in front of the big sticks.
Riccardi turns quickly, wants to play on, does so to Callaghan, who's in a lot of space in the middle of the ground. The flying fin just guides that towards Callum Brown. That was clever. Looked forward as if he was going to go long and then just diverted at the last moment. And Callum Brown, who will have no problem kicking this distance from just inside 50. Callum Brown, the Irishman, game number 50, has a goal to his name.
1-6 to 1-1 so far this quarter, and now Whitfield's caught by Bolton. He tried to step around him and Shea Bolton came lunging after him, dragged him down and caught him holding the ball deep in the right forward pocket, no more than 15 metres around. This one is right in Shea Bolton's wheelhouse. He'll whip it around on the left boot, and this time he salutes. Finally some reward for effort for Walyala. Bolton's got a couple in the early going. Just trying to weave his way forward. Kicks to the edge of the 50. Callum Brown reaches up to mark. 55 from home. Drops it into the arc onto the chest of Cadman. 10th game of the season for Aaron Cadman. 10 goals, 12 so far. He strikes it on that left boot and strikes it true. That's what they needed.
The 2025 Sir Doug Nicholls round.
On your radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
And on the ABC Listen app.
The main break at the showgrounds, it's the Dockers. Walyala 5-10-40 leading the Giants 4-5-29. Joel Peterson, Daniel Garb, Joel Patfull, Ryan O'Keefe and Declan Byrne, your call team on ABC Sport. Great to have you with us. Saturday footy continues earlier today at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. It was Collingwood too good for Guana, 78-68 in that game. The other match in progress is Yardabulti, Port Adelaide against Geelong at Adelaide Oval. And it is Yardabulti 3-6-24 to Geelong 5-3-33. Jeremy Cameron's got 2 at the half. He's got the 2 most recent goals in the game for the Cats. The real story there is the injury toll, though. So Josh Sin was subbed out early with a hip injury. He was then had Jason Horne-Francis go down with a hamstring injury. Jack Bowes went down with a hamstring injury. So too did Patrick Dangerfield. And now Lockie Jones has gone down with a hamstring injury for the Power. So there's bodies falling everywhere at Adelaide Oval with injuries. It's the Cats by 9 points at half-time. The game later tonight is Essendon and Western Bulldogs for everyone on ABC Radio. If you're on News Radio, you head back to network programming. Matt Clinch, Lauren Borden, Brett Delidio, Daniel Harford and Andrew Mays to bring you that game between Essendon and the Bulldogs tonight. In the National Rugby League a little bit earlier today, the Warriors too good for the Dolphins. Early going between the Cowboys and the Sea Eagles at the moment, and it is still scoreless there. Of course, the news out of the day in AFL circles is the really sad passing of Adam Selwood. Of course, Troy, who passed not too long ago, and Adam was announced he has passed earlier today. An emotional Craig McRae after Collingwood's win at the MCG a little bit earlier. Let's hear a little bit of what he had to say in his post-match press conference on telling the players about that sad news.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. And there's no book written on this stuff. Yeah, we got the news this morning and it was horrible. And we didn't really know what to do, to be honest, other than maybe give it space to sort of see where it fits with all of us. And I know the coaches knew because we had to get to work on Scoot getting on the plane to go back to Perth. And yeah, it's horrible. There's such sadness, and so we protected the players, thinking that might have been the right thing. I don't know if it was, but we told the whole club straight after the game the sadness, and just want to send my love to the Selwood family. Thanks, guys.
So a very emotional Craig McRae in the aftermath. Of course, Scott Selwood involved with Collingwood for a long time now. Of course, Bryce and Marie, the 2 parents, and a wonderful family from my part of the world. They are absolute royalty in Bendigo, Garby. The Selwood family is, most people know over the last 15 years, if they know one thing about Bendigo, they knew that Joel Selwood was from Bendigo, and the whole Selwood family. I know that they made and continue to make that regional city in country Victoria very, very proud. But it is, the sad news of the day in footy circles.
It breaks your heart listening to Craig McRae. Scott Selwood's obviously connected with the Collingwood Football Club. That's who Scoot is that he was referring to. So he stepped away from whatever coaching responsibilities he had today. I mean, the Selwood family has connections with so many AFL clubs. 4 brothers play this great game, and that's what happens. I'm sure West Coast will be rocked tomorrow in their home game as well. Adam's a 2006 Premiership player. They've now lost 2 players from their 2006 Premiership team, a year out from their 20-year anniversary next year after Adam Hunter's passing this year. But it's the Selwood family that you think about right now. Both twin brothers gone in the space of 3 months. And for Joel and Scott and the parents, you just don't know what to say, because this is heartbreak that is impossible to fathom.
Yep, it's quite hard to put into words, to be fair.
Well, it is, and I think it's a conversation that, I think the AFL is going to be forced to have, and as we are in society with men talking about what they're going through and people making those decisions to be so affected, the AFL community has over the last few years with this, and it's not just AFL players that are affected by this as well. So every player that I know and I talk to still consistently battles with different issues over the time through their AFL career and in their past lives. So it's not something that is easy. It's not something that's talked about. There's a lot of players out there that have these issues as well. So
it might be time for a men's mental health round. There have been a lot of calls for that in the wake of this tragic news today. It's the Dockers who lead by 11 points. The third term is underway now, and that's a strong tackle by Callaghan on Shai Bolton, who was fantastic in that first half. That's better from the Giants. Gets it to Whitfield. They move it to half forward. Bouncing ball. Coming out to mid, it is Brown. He forces it over the boundary line. We have got a sub to start the second half, down to Declan Byrne.
Yes, so McMullen is out for the Giants, an adductor injury. Came off late in that quarter, took some painkillers. Obviously hasn't been able to get the better of it. So Toby McMullen is out, like for like, I guess, for the Giants is the positive. Harvey Thomas is in.
Good change early in the second half as the Giants try to claw back the 11-point lead that the Dockers currently enjoy. Callaghan with a quick kick inside 50. Here is Darcy Jones. He's tackled well by Jordan Clark. Good second effort, though, by Jones to win it back and get it to Briggs. He goes deep inside 50. Here is Brown in his 50th game. The Irishman couldn't get hands to it. Eventually worked it towards Jones. Now Green. Back to Callum Brown with a snap. Just across the face. That was a good opportunity for the Giants early on, who have started with some energy in this third term. The Dockers lead is 10 points. We've got a minute in the third quarter.
Kicked one earlier in the game to Callum Brown. Joel Peterson, Daniel Garb, Joel Padfield, Ryan O'Keefe and Declan Byrne with you on ABC Sport. Jordan Clark steps in from full-back, drives a long kick up the broadcast side. Buckley reaching over the top of Jackson, knocked it away for the Giants, fell to Bedford. Hand pass to Whitfield, infield hand pass to Callaghan, who slips out of the tackle and then snakes away, bangs a long kick inside forward 50, a deep entry. Riccardi and Hogan the targets. Ryan slapped it out of play. It'll be tossed back in, back down to Declan downstairs.
Yeah, just quickly, the other part of that is that Darcy Jones with this right knee is still out there. I've been keeping a close eye on him. He's definitely not 100%, but they will need him to pull through today, given they've already made their sub, and yeah, we'll be down to 3 if he is out too.
Bailey Banfield, the unused sub for the Dockers, still inside 50 for GWS. The Dockers clear that area, and that's a strong contest between Himmelberg and Amos. There was a free kick going the way of Amos. He took the mark anyway. The whistle came before he grabbed the football. So he's making a better contest at the moment, Amos, after a quiet week against Collingwood. Moves it forward to Bolton. Possession number 16 coming up for him to go with a couple of goals. The star Richmond recruit. Told to play on now. Goes down the line towards half forward. 2-on-1 against Patrick Voss, and so the Giants win it back. Whitfield to Taylor. Looping handball to Himmelberg. Knocks it out in front of him and over the boundary line. We'll have a throw-in forward of the wing for Wallula, who are 5-10-40, GWS 4-6-30, early stages of the third term. Your experts on ABC Sport, Joel Patfull and Ryan O'Keefe.
Both teams are sort of sussing it out here. It's sort of, yeah, they're dancing around each other. No one's taking that first blow.
Well, tossed back in, Jackson for Wallula, cleverly down to Sarong, kicks inside the forward 50. Track toward Amos on the bounce. Buckley's pretty keen to see it across. It'll be tossed in deep forward for the Dockers. And their Indigenous strip designed by Jeff Farmer in conjunction with his dad Jeff Sr. and Iris, as well as Roger Hayden. The Giant strip mostly in white this year after it was charcoal last year, designed by Gomeroi man Caleb Waters, I should say. Ball tossed back in. Ward deep in defence, caught by Frederick, didn't get it away, holding the ball.
That's what you want to see from your forwards, is putting on that pressure and forward pressure. We talked about at half time, not many tackles in their forward 50, and that's what it does. It creates goal scoring opportunities.
Michael Frederick has already had a couple of opportunities to kick his third. He's done it 8 times before. He will go around the corner, couple of steps, left foot kick. He's got 3. And Wallula has the first of the second half. 4 minutes played in the third term on ABC Sport. It's the Dockers 6-10-46 to the Giants 4-5-29.
It's a tough call. That was pretty hot on Cal Ward there, but there's a movement from Frederick. He came from 10 metres behind the stoppage there through the front, just pinned the arm and made it difficult. It's a tough call. Cal Ward's been a bit quiet today as well. He wouldn't be too happy about getting done holding the ball 5 metres out from goal, so tough way to start the second half.
If you've got one arm free or the ball free, you have to try and get rid of that. That's the ruling. So
that's the rule.
Correct decision there. But Frederick's just been talking about. He's just been busy. He's been busy providing leads, putting forward pressure on, and that's why he's the most dominant forward for Freo at the moment. But it really came from that stoppage drive from Sarong. Like Freo are just starting to get a bit of an ascendancy in this stoppage game.
For the 9th time in his career, Michael Frederick has kicked 3 goals in an AFL game. He's got plenty of time to make it 4. He's been the main man for Waliala. Here's Darcy Jones, another strong tackle by the Dockers, this time by Jordan Clark. The Giants fans aren't happy with that. Level ball up in the middle of the ground. 16 points the lead for Waliala. Jones again and Clark doing battle. Ball edges his way towards centre half forward. Now in the hands of Callahan. Guides us towards the big sticks, but misses again. That was a good opportunity. Loves that situation, Callahan. Should have done better with it. The margin is 15 points in favour of the Dockers.
Is the ball flat out there? I just think the foot skills tonight have just been ordinary. Just a lot of easy shots, and they have not just missed, but missed by fair margins.
It's been pretty greasy at times. We saw Shea Bolton putting the ball up the jumper to try and dry it off for his set shot. Lockie Ash slaps it over and out. It'll roll out for a throw-in right in front of Declan Byrne. Declan, what are conditions like? What do you make of the way that some of the foot skills have unfolded in the game?
Yeah, the footy was right in front of me there. Not slippery at all. I mean, there's been a week of rain. This ground is also affected by the Easter show for the last couple of weeks, so may not have got much sun for a little while, but conditions look pretty good from here.
Giants telling us about 1,500 square metres of turf has been relayed here after the Easter show. Callahan burst away from the stoppage, puts the Giants back inside forward 50. Terrific mark from Carl Warner. Floating across assuredly inside the defensive 50. Kick was dicey, but worked out to Sarong right up the middle for the Dockers.
He attacked the footy and then played on quickly to the hottest man on the ground at the moment in Frederick. He got it to Wagner, pokes it over the top. Mark down there by Amos. Quick footy through the corridor by the Dockers, and it was a strong mark under pressure by Caleb Sarong that set it all up.
The ball's not greasy because the aerial game and marking game has been very solid tonight, so that's been really good. So we can't blame the greasy ball for poor foot skills, but that ball movement was speed. I can see Sarong, it was a dangerous handball to Frederick, but they obviously back his speed to just put it out in front and let him go. So really good.
Jai Amos from directly in front, 15 metres out for his second of the game. Amos is never missing from there. 21 points the Dockers lead by. They have carried on their good work from the first half. And once again, it was that man, Fast Freddy, involved through the middle of the ground.
Yeah, he's been one of the most potent players on the ground, isn't he? He's score assists, hitting the scoreboard himself. But the Freo tools, Amos particularly, starting to get himself into the game, get his dukes on the ball, so which is really potent for him.
He's looking dangerous. It was that first kick out of the back line by Warner as well. He came across an intercept mark, but he didn't wait. He saw the target in the centre corridor and he went for it. And I think that's a clear directive that Fremantle have gone with today. They want to move the ball quicker, and if there's an option there, they're going to take it. If that's in the centre square, we're going for it and we're playing on.
Fonte's still on Frederick. You wonder if Kingsley has to make a change. He's been with him all game.
Yeah. Well, it hasn't been a clear matchup. He's had 4 or 5 different opponents. He keeps getting rolled through. No one's taking accountability. So you're right, there needs to be a change.
Keeps running away from all of them. Enough the stoppage clearance for the Dockers. Sarong, handball to Johnson, edge of the 50 now for Reid. Back to Sarong, searching and then kicking inside. Deep entry, reaching up Tracy. Frederick's there again, does the roving, got slung down by Ware. No free kick for the Giants on that occasion, and it rolls through for a minor score. He is very dangerous at the moment, is Michael Frederick. He was living dangerously there. 122 points the way of Waliala.
Well, the one who's getting off the chain is Sarong in the midfield now. He's become really dangerous, and he's starting a lot of their drive.
22 disposals now for Caleb Sarong, 2-time club champion, 2-time All-Australian. The Giants have a lot of work to do, down by 4 goals. Ash goes out to the wing with the defensive kick in, and then Luke Ryan's caught high, surely. Free kick to the Dockers. They'll pump it back inside, attacking 50 once more. It's a laser ball looking for Tracy. Well done by Taylor to get a hand in. And the Giants get going now out of defensive 50. Here is Fonte, has to get rid of it quickly. Does to Iden. Excellent defensive work in attack by the Dockers. Johnson chases Ware. They find a way to work it out through Ash. Callahan, though, couldn't get a hand on it. Just knocked it forward. It found its way to Darcy Jones. Keeps the ball in play smartly and kicks to half forward. A leap from Cadman is coming. Brings it to ground. Toby Green's there. Well done by Fremantle, though. Pearce stands up. It's It's a free kick to Toby Green, though.
You're lucky.
Giants fans spotted that and they like it. Green will play on quickly and spot up Xavier O'Halloran inside 50. He'll kick from 48 metres on a 45-degree angle to the left.
They're having a shot on goal, but geez, they put themselves under a lot of pressure. That handball was just a bit of chaos surge. Lucky to get out of it. They're probably just a couple of missed tackles that Fremantle weren't able to stop it. It's a game style or a ball movement. I don't know. I don't think it's going to stack up into high-pressure finals games.
They need this one badly, do the Giants. O'Halloran, 17 and 15 disposals in the last 2 weeks. Only 5 today, playing in the midfield from 48 metres. X does not mark the spot for O'Halloran. It's another behind. 4-8 now for the Giants, 32. Walyulup 7-11, 53, 21 points. The Dockers lead by.
Opportunity goes begging for the Giants. Luke Ryan whacks the Dockers in from fullback. Come back though. Ward off hands. Back to O'Halloran, who just missed that shot at goal. Handball back to Ward from right on halfway. Off the back foot. Kicks to half forward. Ango over Rise. And then Callum Brown tried to control it in. It slipped out of his grasp. It'll be tossed back in at the junction of the 50 and the boundary. Out at right half forward. Dockers with the only 2 goals of this term so far. Giants have kicked 3 behinds. 11 and a half played, third quarter. Joel Peterson, Daniel Garb, Ryan O'Keefe, Joel Patfull, and Declan Byrne, your call team. Cats by 16 points. Adelaide Oval over Yardapulti earlier. It was Collingwood too good for Kuana. Inside 50 here from Himmelberg for the Giants from the stoppage. And it's nicely cut off by Chapman, deep in defence for Walyulup.
12 minutes gone in the third term. It's 21 points the lead for the Dockers. Good grab by Jackson, opposed to Briggs. A touch on the footy though, so the umpire says play on. Wagner kicks quickly to Erasmus on the move. Marks on the wing. Has players in space up forward. Is slow to get it going. Now he tucks it under his arm. Neil Erasmus and kicks into attack. And the free kick's paid to Murphy Reid. It's all going the Dockers' way at the moment, and they are getting frustrated deep in defence. The Giants, Sam Taylor with a bit of push and shove. Murphy Reid will kick from 30 out, slight angle to the left to make it 27 points. The Walyulup lead.
There's so much space inside 50, and even through the middle, those Freo players, they're pulling that Giants defence apart. So the Giants defenders are going with the Freo forwards, and the midfielders aren't closing that space. So they're being able to find targets in between, and then those defenders are running back towards goal, creating pressure. So doing some great stuff here, Freo. That ball movement's really putting those defenders under pressure.
What a find this man has been. The first-round draft pick from last year, Murphy Reid, to keep his goal-a-game average going through 10 games of his career. Never in doubt, and he's happy to get in a bit of a wrestle afterwards with Lockie Ash. It is Anya in the forward 50. Murphy Reid converts. The Dockers lead is 27 points. And there's about 20 players now involved in this little melee that's now broken up by the umpires. More importantly, though, the Giants are in a whole lot of trouble at home.
Well, to follow on from what Joel was saying is about what's happening is the Giants midfield aren't respecting Freo, and Freo just running through the centre of the ground. And you're right, they'll stretch the Giants' defence. They'll go back with him, creates all this space in these pockets through the middle of the ground, and you know, we talk about Callaghan and Green being really good attacking plays. They've got to work both sides of the ball.
Lots of Ryan O'Keefe on ABC Sport. 8-11 plays 4-8. Getting away from the Giants. What can they do about it? Back in the middle. Voss the clearance for the Dockers. Skies one inside the forward 50. Amos working his way to the front. Tracy brought it down. Frederick with the step. Tried to slide out of the tackle. He got caught. That time the defence stood up for the Giants. That time it was Joe Fonte who was able to get a grasp of the slippery Michael Frederick. He'll take it from the defensive, deep in defensive 50. Gallops across goal. Kicked it almost into the path of Murphy Reid. Iden now at halfback for the Giants. Handball to Tom Green. He tried to slip the tackle of Dudley. Did so pretty well in the end. Handball to Ware. He's put Fonte under pressure. Reid's got a hold of him. He's got support from Erasmus. And now they're in trouble again, holding the ball. And this Dockers pressure is mounting at the moment.
Tried to break the tackle, did Fonte. Fair call by the umpire. Clark's under pressure now, gets it. to Switkowski. They go into attack to the Dockers. Well done by Amos to get a hand to that under pressure from Buckley. There's that man, Frederick again. He's wrapped up by Whitfield this time. Ball up, forward pocket for the Dockers, who are 8-11-59, leading the Giants by 27 points.
They're up and about, isn't that? Good energy from Freo. Where do all these Dockers supporters come from? They're everywhere.
Here is Erasmus, gets it to Switkowski. Frederick, once again, he's on the end of it to Johnson. Now Murphy Reid for a second goal for him in the space of a couple of minutes. He's caught, and GWS can get moving off half-back. Taylor gets it to the sub in Thomas.
And Thomas just darts his way through, weaves a path, looks out wide for Cadman. Nice aerial work. Pearce coming across, Cadman outpointed him. Marks between the wing and left half forward. Aggressive kick on the diagonal to the top of the 50. Finds Riccardi. He whips it inside the arc for Angove. And Cody Angove marks 35 metres out, 45-degree angle to the right of centre. And the second gamer kicking for his first goal in the big time.
They moved that really well, but that came off the back of a brilliant contested mark there by Cadman. He had to stick that, otherwise it was turnover and come back the other way.
13 disposals on debut last week. The back-to-back Colts premiership player at Claremont. Cody Angove for his first goal in the top flights. He misses to the right-hand side. That is 4 behinds for the quarter for the Giants. A 26-point lead for Waliala. 16 minutes played. Third term, Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
Feels like they needed that, the Giants. There's the kick from Ryan. It is spoiled by Harvey Thomas to lock it in attacking 50. They needed a debutant, second gamer kicking his first goal just to give them some energy.
They need someone to kick a goal. Like
exactly.
Anyone.
It's like they've kicked only 4 goals in nearly 3/4 of football.
Fair point. Beggars can't be choosers at the moment. A stoppage in attack for GWS. Picked up by Riccardi. Well done by Jeremy Sharp to win the footy in the clinches. And once again, it's taken over the boundary line, this time by Carl Warner. Boundary thrown from the same spot that we saw the last one. The Dockers lead by 26 points. So Michael Frederick, 12 disposals, 3 goals. Of those 12 disposals, 10 have been score involvements. It is rare you see disposals matched with score involvements to such a level.
3 goals too, and he kicked one out of bounds on the full as well. He's been in everything. 25th birthday today, and what a game he's having. Ball's locked up on the paint of the 50. It'll be tossed up. Brett Rosebery tosses it high into the night sky. Riccardi reaches over in front of Voss, wins it down. Giants come back through Iden, kicks an absolute sack to the top of the 50. It was a brilliant gather by Hogan at the top of the goal square under all kinds of duress, being manhandled by Cox. Got his kick away, dribbled away to the right. And a 5th behind for the turn to the Giants narrows the gap to 25 points the way of the Dockers.
Joel Patfull, your thoughts on Brendan Cox's game on Jesse Hogan so far?
Well, he's been great, but I don't think the Giants have really given Hogan as much opportunity as what they should. Their ball movement hasn't really helped him out, and Hogan's been okay, but I mean, at this moment, I think Cox has got the chocolates.
Bolton goes short to Brayshaw, and now to Matt Johnson, just behind the wing for the Dockers. He did say during the week he expected Alex Pearce to play in him, Jesse Hogan. Cox has been given the job. As you say, he's not the problem. It's the way in which the Giants are moving the football and the Dockers are defending. But just the 1 goal for the Coleman medalist after 7 last week, as the Dockers move it up to half forward. Amos will gather it just outside 50, wants to wheel on his left. Handballs to Brayshaw, gives it back to Amos. They retreat, but they keep the football. Knocking down in front of himself is Erasmus. Turns it over there to Riccardi, and it's a high tackle on Bedford by Bolton. Had to be a high tackle. Crazy that's called play on. Switkowski will kick across the face. That is a ridiculous call. And the Giants fans are furious as a result. I think even Toby Bedford knows he's lucky there. He's walking away sheepishly from that contest.
There's 3 umpires in the vicinity of it as well. They all had a good look and all waved.
Oh, it's right over his shoulder.
26 points the margin. That is the old-fashioned horse collar.
The UFC was in town.
There was the wrestling going on at the show or something in that part of the ground. Giants inside the defensive 50. Ash to Ward to Whitfield. Now to Ware. Nurses the kick outside the defensive 50 to Fonzie. 8-12, plays 4-10. 19 and a half minutes gone in this term. The Dockers 0-4 from their 4 appearances here. Looking for a first win at this venue at the showground. Ash takes the mark in front of Brayshaw. He's a little bit slow to rise. He might have just lost his boot there, Lockie Ash. He did. The left of his bright white boots. The man from the Goulburn Valley, Katandra via the Shep Bears, kicks out wide, finds Whitfield just inside the boundary line on that outer side of the ground. Adelaide Oval, it's the Cats 7-5 to Port Adelaide, Yarrabilty 4-7, so a 16-point lead to Geelong. Later tonight, Essendon and Western Bulldogs for most of you from Melbourne.
Ball in dispute on the wing, gathered by Wagner, inboard to Erasmus. Off half back goes Cooper Simpson for the Dockers. Finds Bolton now in the middle of the ground, wants to play on quickly, does so to Switkowski. 26 points the Dockers lead by. The handball to Simpson. Has a couple of options inside 50, looks for Tracy off his hands. Bolton gathers it again, one of the danger men. Left foot snap from Shea. Bolton is missing narrow side. Through for a behind. So 20 touches now for the former Tigers superstar. 2 goals, 3, and 27 points the Dockers lead by.
Who's on him?
Yeah, they're just getting so much ball inside their forward 50, Freo, and they look dangerous every time they go in there. If a couple of these went through, like, look, they're 8-13. Like, if it was the other way around, this game would be totally over.
Plus 10 inside 50s at 40-30 after being plus 28 last week, the Dockers. They'll be hoping that inefficiency in front of the sticks doesn't come back to haunt them again. Erasmus is caught by Hogan. Will have a ball up centre of the broadcast wing. Luke Jackson waiting to come back onto the ground. So it's Voss in ruck against Briggs. Briggs decisively down. Tried to knock it back in field. Ward had a play at it. So too Toby Green. Clark, how did he get rid of it? Umpire said it was okay to Sarong, who's been brilliant so far in this term. His kick's turned over to Taylor, who marks for the Giants. Leading interceptor in the competition. Now to Ash. Kicks a shocker straight to Amos, who played on maybe when he didn't have to. To Simpson. Back to Amos. 55 from home. Kicks to the left forward pocket. Dudley can't keep it in.
Wow.
They had all kinds of territory and time there while you're up, and they mucked it up. It results in a boundary throw in the left forward pocket. 35 from home.
Both skills from both teams there were horrible. Like, that's just those opportunities got to take, particularly when you're on the road, and Freo want to get some wins on the board. Like that should have been a certain punishment for an absolute howler of a turnover.
27 points the Dockers lead by. It could be more. Just 4 goals for GWS at home. The Dockers have come here with a defined game plan to frustrate them. It is working to perfection. There's a free kick here to Tom Green. Right half back for the Giants, who need to get going quickly as we get closer to 3/4 time. We've gone 23 minutes now in this third term. Green goes up to the wing, cutting across is Luke Ryan. Off hands there, ball in dispute close to the boundary line. We'll have a ball up. It's getting to the stage where you've got to ask questions about the Giants' ability to have a plan B and whether it's going to be strong enough, if teams frustrate them, to contend for a premiership. Because right now, opposition teams know exactly how to play against them. Starve them of the corridor, they don't quite know what to do.
Oh, and force them to turn the ball over. And the way they play all this orange tsunami, but they're not scoring, they're not getting inside 50, so it's not working. So you got to try. You need some other way of your ball movement to counteract what the opposition's giving you.
What happens to the tsunami at low tide? This is the question for the Giants at the moment. Switkowski has a free kick in there going to the Giants. Another holding the ball decision going the way of Joe Fonte. He's had his hands full down back today. Kicks to Ash at the top of the defensive 50, who bursts away. Charging forward is Lockie Ash. Terrific kick to half forward. Spots up Himmelberg. Drops it into the pocket. Kick was errant. Out of bounds on the full, looking for Cadman. And it'll be another free kick to the Dockers from the left back pocket. Let's check in downstairs. Declan Byrne.
That was a general rule in surfing. You don't go the first wave, you go the second wave. And Fremantle looking like the second wave at the moment. GWS pride themselves on being the big one, but at the moment they're the first wave.
Thanks, Mark Okalupo on the boundary.
Well, Margaret River Pro's on, so if there's ever a time.
Luke Ryan sends it up to the wing with the Dockers. Briggs is there. Murphy Reid gathers it, and Isaiah Dudley sees it over. 8-13, 61 while you're up. GWS 4-10, 34. In a couple of dire weeks for the Dockers.
I think the concern for the Giants...
Is it about to turn?
Sorry, mate. I was just going to say the concern for the Giants is that this is a common thing. So it's happened a few times last year. It's happened a few times this year. It's like, so they need a strategy to put in place when they're under pressure like this to score, and currently they can't do it.
Also, Joel Padfield on ABC Sport alongside Ryan O'Keefe, your experts. Again, Sarong had a hand in it at the stoppage. Wagner, now Simpson, backs his way into Angove. Second year Docker in 29 runs into the first year Giant in 29. Have it tossed up in the middle of the ground. 25 minutes played third term. Wally up 8-13-61. The Giants 4-10-34, which is equal to their lowest score of the season thus far. Toby Green at the stoppage. Floats the kick out wide to Angove. He's marked 75 from home. Loops it on over the top by foot to Whitfield. 55 metres out. Kicks an absolute dart to Hogan. Extended the arms but couldn't pull it in. Defensive 50 now. Warner's dragged down in the tackle. Umpire says mine. We'll ball it up at right in the right forward pocket. Giants deep into attack.
Important stoppage for the Giants. They could use a goal badly before three-quarter time. Here's Harvey Thomas. Looks at his options. The snap didn't quite connect with the football. And then Angove with a nice tackle on Simpson wraps him up. So we'll have another ball up. We've gone 26 minutes in this third term. The Dockers lead by 27 points. GWS need to make the most of this repeat stoppage in attack. Briggs is there, works it down to Toby Green, but they clear the area to Fremantle. Through Erasmus, up to the wing, punched away from the contest by Buckley. Sarong is there, charging at the footy. His kick is a grubbery one though, straight to Buckley. And now Callaghan goes to an attacking area, but well done Switkowski. Sensed the danger, dropped back and took a very strong contested mark just backwards of the centre circles.
So important to this Wally-Up team when they're up and going. At Adelaide Oval, Cats have opened up a break in the game. They lead Yarrabalti by 28 points, 23 gone in the third quarter there. Now the Dockers go into slowdown. Wagner's got it defensive side of the outer wing. Kicks down the line looking for Jackson. Floats over his head. Out the back, Buckley tries to collect. Voss there right with him. Ball out for a boundary throw-in. 55 metres out from the Dockers goal. Giants with 5 behinds in this term so far. The Dockers have kicked 3 goals 3. And they hold a 27-point lead at the 27-minute mark of the third.
And Luke Jackson is at the front of the stoppage, just outside attacking 50 for the Dockers. Picked up now by Wagner, gets it to Brayshaw, goes into attack and finds Murphy Reid. It's all going Wally-Up's way, and Murphy Reid has a chance to kick his second goal of this quarter and the game to extend the lead out to 33 points here in Sydney, if you can believe it.
Watching the Dockers today, you sort of ask the question, why aren't they high up the ladder? Why haven't they won more? Because they've got some great players. I think their game plan's quite sound. So it's just the question, why aren't they better than what they have been this season? Or maybe this is one of those games that sort of gives a bit of catalyst to keep kicking forward.
This man has injected some talent onto their list. Murphy Reid, his kick is across the face and through for 8. Rush behind, but it's 28 points they lead by. Maybe the style of football suits them best, playing in the counter-attack, but they've got a bit more space, because last week they had all the inside 50s, but Collingwood sat back and they couldn't do much with it.
Briggs has a bit of a moment inside the defensive 50. Give and go with Ash, and then pushed off his kick by Bolton, out of bounds on the full. And so Cooper Simpson will take it at right half forward for the Dockers. 65 from home. That wasn't a good moment for the big Giants ruck. Simpson with the set-up kick. Amos with a run and a rise. Can't pull it in. Spills to ground. Ware buffeted off his kick. Jackson throws himself at it. Deep forward for the Dockers. Spiked out of there by O'Halloran. Sarong puts his nose over it. Now to Chapman. Now to Brayshaw around the body. His curling kick falls into the lap of Buckley. Did he put it out of bounds on the full? Not quite. Kick hit the chalk and bounces out of play for a throw-in, but they are really living dangerously at the moment inside defensive 50, the Giants.
Well, you hate to say it, but you mentioned it before. It's almost disrespectful the way they're playing at the moment. They didn't expect this from the Fremantle Footy Club today. They didn't expect the pressure, and they just haven't been able to handle it so far, the Giants.
What's baffling me is the amount of turnovers. It's Clanger City, this game at the moment, particularly from the Giants.
A dirty day for GWS, and Wally-Up have the chance to extend the lead further. Brayshaw to Matt Johnson. Another opportunity missed by the Dockers. 8:15 now, 63, but they still lead by 29 points. GWS 4-10-34. It's been an inaccurate day, but it's been the Dockers' day so far as we get close to three-quarter time. Here's Joel Peterson. Twilight Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
It's a new game-high lead, that 29-point break. Lockie Ash drives it in from full-back. Jackson over the top of the pack. Cox there for Walyalup. Bedford kept it moving, picked the footy up and just thumped it as high and as hard as he can down the wing. Bounced on its end inside for Pearce. The backspin found its way to him. He was stepped across by Riccardi. It'll be tossed back in. So 3 goals, 5 in this quarter for Walyalup. No goals, 5 for the Giants, who have really struggled to score. And they try and manufacture something as the seconds wind down in this third term. Ball's tossed back in. Himmelberg seen across the boundary line. We'll do it all again. 4 and 5 Walyalup. The Giants 5 and 4. They're 8th and 12th on the table. At the moment, it's the Dockers who've got the upper hand in the arm wrestle.
And the Dockers will be happy for the 3/4 time siren to go. It's not too far away. GWS need another goal badly just to stay in touch. It's a 5-goal margin at the moment in favour of the Dockers, and Jackson wins it out of the ruck, gets it to Sarong. Brayshaw and now Johnson, who snaps it up to the wing, coming out to mid at his Voss, couldn't mark, but they'll be happy to lock this ball up on the wing with time ticking down, just waiting for that 3/4 time siren to set themselves up for what would be the biggest win of their season so far if they can carry it on in the final term.
Yeah, we spoke about it going after half time. If Freo can keep executing this game style, this game plan, it's going to win the game for them.
Cross half forward for the Dockers here. Frederick, who's been in the thick of it all day, now out to Murphy Reid, runs across the top of the 50, flares the kick wide. Sharp hasn't seen a lot of it so far today. Pokes it inside the arc beautifully for Tracy. Not the required distance. Hooks it to a central spot. Gee, time will beat the Giants here, but that's a big moment. Voss came crashing out. Callaghan went back with the flight of the ball. And Finn Callaghan has gone down very sore indeed, clutching at his shoulder. It's the shoulder that isn't strapped for Finn Callaghan as he lies on his back. The doctor's heading out there. 3/4 time arrives. It's 8:15:63 Walyalup. The Giants 4:10:34. And Finn Callaghan is still on his back in a lot of trouble as we go to 3/4 time. Michael Frederick has an equal career best, 3 goals for the Dockers. 2 to Bolton, 2 to Amos. A goal to Murphy Reid as well for the Giants. It's all singles. No goals in that third term. Darcy Jones, Jesse Hogan, Aaron Cadman and Callum Brown. And now Finn Callaghan is able to get to his feet. And they'll test out that right shoulder, and we'll get Declan to keep a very close eye on that at 3/4 time. That could be a big moment for the emerging Giants midfielder and for the Giants in this season. 3/4 time at the showgrounds, and it is the Dockers who are primed to potentially record what would be a very significant win in their season. 8:15:63 Walyalup. They lead GWS 4:10:34. Final quarter, not too far away. Stay with us. This is Saturday Footy on ABC Sport.
Hello, Patrick Stack here. Do you like sport and good conversation? Then we've got a great podcast for you. One cracking story, in depth, every day, in under 15 minutes. It's called ABC Sport Daily, and you can find it on the ABC Listen app.
This is the Sir Doug Nicholls Round.
On your radio, Sport Digital and the ABC Listen app.
Ward deep in defence, caught by Frederick, didn't get it away, holding the ball. Michael Frederick has already had a couple of opportunities to kick his third. He's done it 8 times before. He will go around the corner, couple of steps, left foot kick. He's got 3. And Walyalup has the first of the second half.
To the hottest man on the ground at the moment in Frederick. He got it to Wagner, pokes it over the top, marked down there by Amos. Quick footy through the corridor by the Dockers. Jai Amos from directly in front, 15 metres out for his second of the game. Amos is never missing from there. 21 points the Dockers lead by. Neil Erasmus kicks into attack, and the free kick's paid to Murphy Reid. It's all going the Dockers' way at the moment, and they are getting frustrated deep in defence, the Giants. Sam Taylor with a bit of push and shove. What a find this man has been, the first round draft pick from last year, Murphy Reid, to keep his goal-a-game average going through 10 games of his career. Never in doubt, and he's happy to get in a bit of a wrestle afterwards.
The 2025 Sir Doug Nicholls Round.
On your radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and on the ABC Listen app.
Tension's boiling over a couple of times in that third term, and it's the frustrating Dockers, who've done the business so far through 3 quarters against the Giants. 8-15-63, they lead by 29 points while you're up. GWS 4-10-34 as Sir Doug Nichols round rolls on here on Wongal Country in Western Sydney. Great to have you with us. Joel Peterson and Daniel Garb calling the action for you. Joel Patfull, Ryan O'Keefe, your experts. Declan Burns downstairs. You've been keeping a close eye on Finn Callaghan at 3-quarter time after he went down in the very late stages. Well, after the siren at 3-quarter time, Declan, how does he look?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, the right shoulder, the one that he usually doesn't strap. So he was in a lot of pain, couldn't move it for a while. He was clutching at it. So both doctors came over. It seems to have got better with time. They've done a bit of testing with rising it, with moving it to the side, and now they've left him alone. So good signs for Finn Callaghan. It never popped out by the look of it, so hopefully just a real bad stinger.
Good news. They'll need him and a bit more in this final term if they're to get back into this ball game. Ryan and Joel, the Dockers, everything they've done today, Joel, has been very, very good. As Garvey said a number of times, they've come with a plan, they've executed it. Now it's a matter of doing it for one more quarter.
That's right. They've played their perfect game of footy, really. The only thing they haven't done is probably kick better in front of goal. So they'd be very happy looking to replicate that for one more quarter. And if they can, they're going to go a long way to win this game of footy. But for the Giants, they're still dangerous, because this is when they can throw everything away and just go for it and play some good footy. You know that they can score quickly, and they're dangerous if they can get that ball moving quickly. So, but what that will do, on the other hand, will give Freo more opportunities. If they can turn the footy over, it'll give us some really good looks going the other way. So first 5-10 minutes of this quarter will be really telling.
Freo just got to continue their game style of let's defend by owning the ball, and they've been really precise and meticulous in the way they move it for most of the game, and they're just got to be patient, and it's worked, and really the game should be done and dusted. If they kick straight, like if you flip that on there, if it's 15-8, that's it, it's game over. So I think they're just going to continue with what they set out, and they've got to make sure they can execute it. And if they can do that, that's a 4-quarter performance, which I just don't think they've probably put together at all this year. So and the Giants, on the other hand, they're going to do something. I think they're going to change something in the midfield too. Maybe put Toby Green in there or something. They're just looking like they've got one plan, one sort of set of magnets that can stay on that board, and that's it. And if that doesn't work, they're not quite sure what to do. I think they really need to look at how can they change it around and what can they do differently.
Adam Kingsley barking his message. The players were dispersing and he was still going at them as they moved away from their huddle. He's still in the middle. The coaches is the Giants coach with a whole lot of aura. He's giving some messages to Cody Ango.
Coaches reckon you've only got so many rockets. Do you reckon he's used one there?
Well, I'm not sure if it was a full bake, but it was certainly delivered with some authority, which is customary for Adam Kingsley. The Dockers break now with that 29-point margin. He said during the week, Adam Kingsley, Bedford will go to one of Sarong, Brayshaw, Bolton or Clark. Whoever's damaging them the most. They're the 4 highest disposal getters for Fremantle. So not quite sure the tag has worked on this occasion for the Giants. It has so often in the past. Maybe they just forget about the tag now. They have to go gung-ho, don't they, to try and get back into this game.
Well, it looks like Toby Green's, they've listened to what I said, they've put Toby Green in the midfield. He needs to get in the game. His season, to be honest, has been well below the Toby Green we know, and it's not working for him up forward at the moment, so let's get him into the game.
The voice of 2012 Norm Smith medalist Ryan O'Keefe on ABC Sport. Here's Joel Peterson to start the last term.
29 points is the deficit for the Giants. What can they do about it here in this final quarter? Free kick coming from the ruck contest, and it's going to Jackson. He wanted to take it from a million miles away from the circle and was allowed to. Handed it off to Brayshaw. 10 disposals in that third term. Starts the last off with a deep entry here. Tracy got dragged down while he was trying to collect it and gets a free kick. Had the left shoulder pulled down, Josh Tracy. And he will go back 40 metres out to put the Dockers 35 points to the good.
The interesting thing, he really has not been part of this game at all. We haven't actually called him at all, which is quite surprising with the amount of entries they've had in there. So if he can get going in this last quarter and become a bit of a handful, hopefully that gives him confidence and gives Freo the confidence for their future games coming up.
It's been all the smalls so far today for Woolloomooloo. When the moment arises, what's the big kahuna got? He's got all that he requires. And the Dockers are out by 35 points. The Giants will have to kick their score and then some if they're to resurrect something from this game. 9-15-69. plays 4:10.34, a minute into the last term before the thoughts of Ryan O'Keefe and Joel Patfull. Let's go downstairs to Declan Byrne.
Just quickly, Finn Callahan, jumper off, getting the right shoulder strapped up identically to the left one, and no movement yet on the Freo bench. They've had basically zero injury concerns all game, so Bailey Banfield still sitting there at the back of the bench.
Yeah, you're right, Ryan. We thought it was going to be Hogan up one end, Tracy up the other, but they haven't been too influential. So if Tracy can get his hands on a few in this last quarter, it's going to be interesting. But 35 points down is a long way to come back for the Giants here. They're going to have to really get going here.
Well, the way they're playing, I can't see them kicking that score.
Well, they've only kicked 4 for the game. They trail by 6. It's 35 points. The Dockers lead. Josh Tracy with his first of the afternoon in that excellent battle with Sam Taylor. The Giants have it now, though. Tom Green looking for Hogan. The kick wasn't as accurate as it should have been. It missed Hogan. Coming away from the contest is Chapman. That was an opportunity for the Giants to give themselves a pulse. They've won a free kick here, though. It's with Jacob Ware against Isaiah Dudley on the wing, outer side. It would take a Herculean effort for GWS from here. It's a high ball from Ware to half forward and up and under. And marking it is Jackson out in front of Riccardi. He's been brilliant, the Dockers ruckman. Without Sean Darcy, that's where a lot of fans love to see him. And he has excelled despite all the talk around his future at Walyalup this week.
It'll take a Herculean effort, the likes of which Brett Spriggs' voice has seen in the past few days, coming back from last Sunday. It was called Friday Night Footy last night. It'll be on our NRL coverage a little bit later, Spriggy. As the Sharks take on the Storm. Long kick up the line here for Walyalup. Johnson was infringed upon by Callan Ward.
They're continuing this game plan, owning the ball. It's working really well, and it's frustrating the Giants. And the Giants just want to get their ball in so they can score, and they have to score to win this game. They have to go fast now and throw it all up into the wind.
Caleb Sarong stretching out some cramp in the middle of the ground. Long kick to half forward, and Jackson pulls it down, crashes the pack and brings it in on the second grab. 55 metres from home.
He's having a game, definitely Gubs.
The set-up kick to full forward. Voss! Tracy cleared the space, and it landed in the lap of Patrick Voss, who will have a set shot of 20 metres on a slight angle to the right.
They got some timber down there, don't they? With Voss and Amos and Tracy. Jackson's running around having a brilliant game. So their bigs have been really, really influential in this game, which has allowed their small players to be able to feed off that.
The boy from Wagga, in his second season on the Dockers list. He was once part of the Giants Academy. Can he sink them here? In enemy territory, Patrick Voss. He loved it as soon as he let it go. And Walyalup's lead grows to 41 points. And now it looks a bridge too far for GWS. If it wasn't already, 10-15-75 to 4-10-34. 4.5 minutes gone. Final quarter, Saturday footy on ABC Sport.
That's a bit of a rubbing in, is it? I'm at the Giants Academy, you didn't pick me. Hey, help that one.
Well, it's a defensive breakdown out there for the Giants. So there's 4 marks in a row, which were either uncontested or a contested mark. But it's when you zone, and it's breaking from a zone to a one-on-one and creating a contest. And it's the accountability over your one-on-one opponent. So that's where they're breaking it down. They're zoning in free space, but then they haven't been able to close that space to stop those easy kicks, which is making it so easy for Fremantle to work the ball down the ground.
Those who have been calling for Justin Longmuir to go may have to halt their campaign for the moment. Sarong to Jackson. The Dockers into attack again. Here's Iden. Gets it to Ash. Frederick tackled Iden. And they work it out of defence to the Giants. Green to Ware through the corridor. Need a goal badly. Callum Brown dropped the mark in his 50th game. Should have taken it. Bedford's there though. Able to retrieve the situation. Gets it to Ware on the wing. The kick inside 50. Coming across is Clark to affect the contest in front of Hogan and Cox. And they've won a free kick, have the Dockers. Everything going their way at the moment. And now they've made their sub, Declan Byrne.
Isaiah Dudley, tactical sub out of the game, so Bailey Banfield waiting to come on now. Fremantle activated their sub, purely tactical.
Thanks, Declan. Banfield's been in good form the last couple of weeks in the in the waffle. 5 goals in his past 2 outings. Kick out toward Murphy Reed's knocked out a player. It'll be thrown back in. They've kicked the last 5 in the ball game of the Dockers. All 5 goals since half-time have gone the way of Walyalup. And they lead by 41 points. 6 minutes into the final term. Their 4 games here before today have resulted in 4 losses for an average of 46 points. Quite the turnaround after the last couple of weeks for the Purple. Switkowski, he's dragged down. Again, an appeal to the umpire from Harry Himmelberg, who wanted a free kick. It spills over for a boundary throw-in. Giants into attack, right half forward. 7 minutes played in the final quarter. Later tonight, Essendon and Western Bulldogs for most of you. And another intriguing game as round 10 continues.
Giants have got Carlton away next week. Walyalup have Port Adelaide at home. It's a 41-point lead for the Dockers here. We've gone 7 minutes in this final term, and they've won the football again. Sarong to Murphy Reed, who's having a big second half. Has a man in space inside 50 and Amos. He brings it to ground. Here is Bolton. All the time in the world. Put down your glasses. Never in doubt from there. 30 out for his 3rd goal. Jay Bolton. He has been one of several Dockers who have been superb here in the west of Sydney. 47 points. You can now chalk down the 4 points for Walyalup.
And that was a great contest there by Jai Amos. Just brought that to ground. And as we spoke about before, the Freo bigs are getting into the game and bringing it down, and the Freo smalls are just capitalising on it. They're just doing it so easily, just from that stoppage. And it's unbelievable.
It's almost a work rate thing. So they outnumbered the Giants at the stoppage, but then they outnumbered them inside 50 as well. So they're just creating more numbers around the footy and using it well. Shai Bolton's been unbelievable. He was the one from the start that really got him going, and he's been able to get forward and kick a goal as well. So he's been the one that's really... But their whole midfield, I mean, the Giants don't have any answers. They've got Toby Green in there trying to get the ball going forward, but they just can't go with them.
6 goals, 5 between Bolton and Frederick. Very, very handy return indeed from the restart. Callaghan rips it out of the middle for the G-men. Kicks deep inside forward 50. The fist applied to it by Cox. And it goes out for a throw-in left forward pocket. Quickly downstairs to Declan.
A few weeks ago in Canberra, the Giants were down by about 50 points. They rallied to at least cut that margin against the Western Bulldogs to 32 at the end. So let's see what they do here, because they were quite proud of the fact they didn't give up in the last quarter.
Ball tossed back in. Jackson front spot, left it behind. Callum Brown goes down looking like he wanted a free kick. Bedford dives on top of the pack that had Warner in it, and a ball up just inside forward 50 for the Giants.
Yeah, Adam Kingsley said on that night, at least he was happy that his team didn't wave the white flag. Maybe they're in danger of doing so in this final term here. Margin out to 47 points Fremantle's way. Here's the man who set it all up, Michael Frederick. He's been electric. His kick, though, is punched away from Reed by Iden. Callaghan gets his hands free on the wing. His handball, though, missed Ash. Picked up by Switkowski. Erasmus, the Dockers go through the middle of the ground. Here is Reed. Finds space superbly. And gets it to Erasmus, who kicks on his left for Amos, who wasn't paid the mark, and then as he hit the ground, the ball spilled free. So GWS can get going. Himmelberg's handball to Thomas. He puts it up on top of Cadman and showed too much of the football to Jordan Clark, who came across and took the mark.
The dynamic interceptor for the Dockers takes it away. 10 gone, final term. Walyalup doing it comfortably. Erasmus, so much said about this man's position in the team. Coming up for disposal, number 15. High kick toward half forward. Voss front spot. Himmelberg, in fact, Briggs punches it back the other way. Warner had a play at it. Wagner, I should say, had a play at it. He's dragged down in the tackle by Fonte. He's done some good stuff in the contest for the Giants this evening. Front point of the square. We'll have it tossed aloft. 11-15, 81 to 4-10-34 at Adelaide Oval. It's the Cats by 48, so a couple of big breaks in these twilight fixtures late in the piece. 13-9, 87. The Cats now out by 54, so could be a big win for Walyalup today, and then they head home to take on Yardabulti next week, who might be coming off a big loss.
Yeah, so both coaches will be, one coach will be under pressure. The man who has been under pressure, Justin Longmuir, will be enjoying a far better week over in the West off the back of this. Here's Voss, who takes it out of the ruck with strength. The Giants' spirits dented enormously here at home. Buckley couldn't take the mark. Tracy gathers it. Handball back to Banfield, the sub. He's got his hands on the footy now. Tracy at left half forward, spins around. His kick isn't too slick for Frederick. And it spills free now for Johnson. He finds some space. Well done, Darcy Jones, to wrap up Johnson, though. Caught him holding the ball inside defensive 50 for the Giants.
Well, you have to ask yourself, if you're a Fremantle supporter, where this team's been all year, because they're playing like a team that is well drilled, well structured, and defensively set up as well as any team I've seen this year. So they're playing like a team that, you know, they know exactly what the next person's doing. They're falling in behind. They're covering when they need to. It's been good to watch.
So it goes to show, like, they can do it. So is it a mindset thing? And now, are we going to see Freo play this for the rest of the season? There's no excuse for them not to now.
A couple of their wins have been very, very good. Long kick up toward Ryan. Off his hands. Spills out toward the boundary line. Sarong. Callum Brown. Cleverly done from Thomas. Back to Brown. Running in toward goal. Really nice finish for his seconds. Game 50 for Callum Brown. And he gets the Giants' first goal of the second half at the 12-minute mark of the last quarter. Their last came through Aaron Cadman at the 26-minute mark of the second. So a long while between drinks for the Giants. 5-10-40 to the Dockers, 11-15-81. 12 and a half gone final term on ABC Sport. So you track their form throughout the course of the season while you're up. The monstrous loss to Geelong in their first game, you thought, what's this team doing? They beat the Bulldogs. Yep. They beat Adelaide. So a couple of their wins have been pretty frank, but then the performance against St Kilda was abject. Against Melbourne at the MCG wasn't a hell of a lot better, and they looked pretty ordinary last week against Collingwood. And off the back of all that, they deliver this.
And we did speak at before the bet. It is the youngest team.
Yep.
So
youngest
it could be
and the least experienced,
which just shows that, you know, that fluctuation in form. But what the positive thing for Freo and Freo supporters is, they can do it. Their best is good enough. So it's whether they can bring that more consistently. And this has been a four-quarter consistent game for them.
Erasmus wins that out of the middle. Frederick made another contest. He's been fantastic up forward. As Michael Frederick, his 25th birthday, he's put his hands on the football again and finds some space. Gets it to Banfield on his left from 49 metres straight through. Another score involvement for Michael Frederick. He's kicked 3 goals, 11 score involvements from his 15 disposals. It's Banfield who converted superbly. But Frederick set that up. Good luck, Joel Patfull and Ryan O'Keefe deciding the votes for Fremantle today, because Sarong, Bolton, Frederick, Jackson will all be in the mix.
That's probably your top 4 right there, mate.
Just write that down.
It's we might have to pull names out of a hat to see who gets 3-2-1. But look, as we just spoke about, look, this has been a really impressive effort. You know, Jackson looks super comfortable as that number one ruck. He's so dynamic in there, and then just, you know, Shea Bolton just bringing that experience from, you know, his success at Richmond and everything like that just helps. You know, it helps Brayshaw, helps Sarong. Like that midfield mix is A grade. So they just got to see if they can work the rest of the team around that.
A minute after the Giants broke a run of 6 consecutive Dockers goals. The Dockers get one back. We'll check in with Declan downstairs in a moment. Jackson, Bolton, Brayshaw, all involved in the clearance. Back to Jackson, kick to the edge of the 50. Back with courage was Fonte. Ricochet between he and Himmelberg. Now back to Fonte. Handball forward to Toby Green. Kicks infield cleverly to Briggs. He wants to hold things up right on halfway. The lateral kick infield is dangerous, and Frederick charges it down. 2-on-1 favours the Dockers. Sharp cleared the path for Banfield, went to his knees. Handball away to Warner was neat. Now at halfback, Simpson, scooped up by Jones. He was onto that in a flash, came away with it and kicked a quite brilliant goal. A couple for Darcy Jones. It was a gather in an instant and a finish of class. And all of a sudden, it's raining goals here at the showground. 6-10-46 the Giants, 12-15-87. Well, you're up. 15 and a half gone final term before Joel and Ryan's thoughts. Let's go downstairs to Declan.
You talked about that round 1 loss, 78 points from Fremantle against Port. So Fremantle have been clawing back percentage. At the moment, they've gained 6% and the Giants have lost 7%. So every goal in this last quarter, that live ladder is moving. At the moment, Wallyalup still 9th.
Well, they needed some brilliance, didn't they? The last 2 goals have come out of individual brilliance. So they're finding a way to kick goals, but they still haven't got that system in place and working together well as a forward line. So few question marks out there for the Giants at the moment.
It just emphasised the what turnovers do to you, and poor turnovers with Freo did there. You get scored against.
16 minutes gone in the last. 41 points is the Dockers lead. Here's Brayshaw. Handball over his shoulder, goes backwards. And wrapped up is Warner. I love watching a player when confidence is oozing through them. You guys have been in that position, you know what it's like. But Frederick's just buzzing around this ground at the moment. Every contest, it feels like he's going to win it. He's just riding this wave.
Oh, he's a phenomenal athlete. The speed and power he's got is unbelievable.
I remember seeing him playing for Woodville West Torrens in the underage competition in South Australia before he got drafted, and just thought, gee, this kid's going somewhere. And very, very talented. Sporting family, the Fredericks. Jackson at the stoppage, away to Bolton, high up the outer wing. Sat it on Tracy's head, couldn't take the mark. Taken away by Whitfield to Callahan, worked himself into trouble. Then Fonte got caught by Switkowski. Ball spills loose for Murphy Reid. Pokes it inside the 50. Tracy running back toward goal. He had a long, hard think about rolling in. The umpire said, I'll give you that, Josh. He goes back behind the mark. He'll have a 25-metre kick, 10 in from the boundary of the right.
He really considered, have I got the foot speed in? And then Connor Iden goes, maybe not. Ambitions and abilities. He actually got them lined up nicely then.
I think he remembered his nickname, the Big Kahuna, and thought, that's not my go. I better slow down here.
Yeah, exactly right. Hadn't kicked a goal against GWS coming into today. 5th year in the list. Had only played against them once. Hadn't beaten the Giants. He's going to play a part in a win today. He misses that to the left-hand side. Another minor score for the Dockers. So 12-16 plays 6-10. The set shot kicking hasn't been all that flash. And we think 3 out of bounds on the full?
3 out of bounds on the full. The score line's actually flattering for the Giants, to be honest. Like, Freo really should be well further in front.
Here's Fonte getting away from a would-be tackler and goes the other way and finds Taylor. The disappointing part of that play before is Frederick was free. So he's kicked 3 for the game. The 9th time in his career that's happened. I think he desperately want a 4th just to break that mould. Kick 4 for the first time in an AFL game. Turned over again by the Giants, marked by Brayshaw.
He's starting to get into the game. Sort of freed up a bit, and he's becoming really dangerous as well.
His 26th disposal coming up. What a remarkable performer he's been for this football club over the journey, Andrew Brayshaw. He would love more success come finals time. Maybe in 2025 that can still happen. This win will do wonders for the Dockers, that's for sure. Bouncing ball inside 50. Here's Jackson looking for Frederick. Whitfield punches it away from him. Frederick's got it back here. And it's turned over now. So we're Halloran bursting through centre half back for the Giants. Great mark, Cooper Simpson. Dropping back, stuck up one hand, took the mark. And now it's 50 against Toby Green for tripping Cooper Simpson. Not sure if he meant it.
Yes, he did.
It's a bit of the dark arts that we've come to expect from Toby over the journey.
But that just shows a frustrated player.
Yes, 100%.
He's down in form. The team's not playing well. As a captain, it's a game we probably should have won. We probably chalked it down as this is a win. It just shows frustration. And you know when Toby starts doing that, he's not in his good form.
So Cooper Simpson,
good 50.
He took a superb mark diving back, and then Toby Green just tried to disguise a trip. Didn't disguise it well enough, and Simpson was marched forward. So he'll kick this from 40 out. Almost directly in front to make the lead. 48 points for Fremantle. For a first goal in Cooper Simpson's career in just his 4th AFL game. And as you can imagine, his Dockers teammates in purple come from everywhere.
Well, Garbs, you picked at the start of the game. You said Freo a big chance at this, and they've been super impressive the way they is, and look, hopefully they can play this brand of footy for the rest of the season and give themselves a hope. But on the Giants, this is a train wreck.
Was it on purpose, the trip?
Oh yeah. The leg went out. He knew what he was doing.
It's the Toby free kick, isn't it? on the Giants as well, there's a bit of play. It was a long ball inside 50 just before that goal. There was 3 Giants defenders that went up, and none of them actually spoiled or hit the ball. Normally someone would come across and kill that footy, and it kind of shows where they're at the moment. They're not hitting a body, they're not being able to influence the contest physically and make an impact on the footy.
It's been all the Dockers here in Western Sydney. They will go back home a very, very happy team indeed. Get to 5-5 on the season, and maybe this will set them alight. Sarong rips it away from the contest again. He's been instrumental in this second half. Murphy Reid lays a good tackle, and it's locked up across half forward for Walyalup. 13-16-94 to 6-10-46. The Giants will go to 5-5 as well. They've got Carlton next week. Promises to be a fascinating game. Sarong this time receives the handball, fends off, eyes the sticks, but can't finish. Away to the right-hand side. It would have completed a very nice outing indeed. That margin is 49 points the way of Freo.
That was almost the ultimate insult. Sarong palming off Callaghan, the blue chip midfielder on the other team.
And he's hurt his shoulder again.
He has.
Callaghan here.
So they might as well get him off now.
Yep.
Why risk it from this point on?
Asset protection, Garby.
49 points the Dockers lead by. Here's Hogan marking on the wing, just a one goal for the Coleman medalist. Got it to Tom Green. And now Angove, the West Australian against the Dockers, kicks it inside 50 and finds another West Aussie in Darcy Jones. Diving backwards, he's marked 35 out on a 45-degree angle, and he'll kick at his third goal of the game.
Well, he's been a lively forward and probably the most prominent forward of all players for the Giants, to be honest. So, look, he's a great little player. But you can see, yeah, they haven't had much winners across the park at all.
He was a big West Coast Eagles fan growing up, Darcy Jones. The big Nick Natanui poster on his wall. He says it's still on his wall back in Perth. So he would have relished a clash with the Dockers. It hasn't quite worked out the way he would have liked. And he's missed the chance at his third goal as well. Fremantle's lead is now 48 points, 13-17-95. GWS 6-11-47, down to Declan Byrne.
Finn Callahan's come off, shaking his head back on the massage table, and yeah, that shoulder's still causing real issues despite being strapped. So yeah, wonder what that'll mean for future weeks.
Make sure they don't send him back out there.
Yeah, it'll be the height of stupidity to bring him back on now.
Just yell out to King and say, mate, he's done. Put him on ice.
That's nice work from Declan downstairs.
I hope he hit after that. I wouldn't want to be talking to Adam Kingsley right now.
Ball brought back in, dragged back into the mess.
But even the poor form, the Giants, depending on the game tonight with the Bulldogs and Essendon, they can still be in the 8. So, like, their season's not over, but I just think there's a few things they could tweak if they just want to come in this back half of the year and play finals and actually make a difference, because they've got the players and they've got some cattle coming back as well.
Yeah. Well, they showed it last week, and I think that's the frustrating part for the Giant supporters here, is that 1 week they're amazing and then they drop off and have a performance like tonight.
Both teams have got significant players to come back in. Canelio's right on the cusp, although that injury just keeps lingering, doesn't it?
1 week glute injury has lingered for 7 weeks.
They're going to have to, as Adam Kingsley told you during the week, Garby, they're going to have to look into that. They've got Daniels not too far away, Josh Kelly, Jake Stringer, among a host of Giants, and Freo have got plenty because they've got a long injury list too. They scramble the kick forward here. Murphy Reid paddles it out in front of himself. Can he pick it up running inside the 50? Hands it off to Banfield. Left foot kicks a dart straight onto the chest of Buckley. Touched on the way through. Jack Buckley puts the step on. Handball into the back pocket. And they can clear outside now. Iden got it to Angove, who gave it up to Bolton, looking for goal number 4. Angove gives it straight back to Voss after he took it away. Voss is crunched by Giants everywhere inside forward 50. Eventually Ware takes it away and kicks it into the centre of the ground.
The Docker pressure remains all the way through to the very end. 48 points they lead by. Another strong tackle, this time by Warner on Callum Brown. O'Halloran to centre half forward. Toby Green finds some space and looks for Riccardi on the lead. Didn't take the mark. Bedford with a handball into Tom Green. He'll waltz through and kick a late goal for GWS. In game 101 for Tom Green. The margin, though, still 42 points in favour of the Dockers.
Yeah, it's interesting when you look at the names we called about players coming back. It's sort of, how much more of a difference is it going to make? But look, I just think looking at Freo, I think there's promising signs there for such a young and inexperienced team that you just got to keep sticking at it, and just got to back off, Longview, and back off the coach and say, hey, look, we've got a plan. We're going to execute. We've got a young, inexperienced team, and it's going to take some time, but we're going to keep going at it and have a bit of faith in it, and let it give us some breathing space so we can go about it and see what judge us at the end of the year, not by week by week.
One thing's pretty clear: it doesn't look like a team that's given up on the coach. That's for sure. Hopefully the fans haven't as well. Brayshaw from the middle of the ground. Hand pass taken away by Fonte to Toby Green. He pulls out the pitching wedge and lobs one inside forward 50. It's taken away by Chapman.
What sort of kick's that? Like that? This is from your leader. Like doing stuff like that. It just shows no care, in my opinion.
That's just a make it your problem kick. Turnover from Chapman to Taylor in the centre of the ground for the Giants. He's been locked in that duel with Tracy. Maybe hasn't had the usual influence on the contest we'd expect. Now Callum Brown kicks long inside the forward 50. Ryan puts his fist through it, spilled straight to O'Halloran, and off a step around the body, misses left. Minor score, that margin 41 points the way of Walyalup. 27 minutes gone in the final term at Adelaide Oval. It's the Cats by 62 over Yarrabildi, with Essendon and the Western Bulldogs to come.
Well, that's one where you just want to get it. You know, Jesse Hogan's the man. He's on the bench at the moment, but when he's off, there's no clear forward, is there? You got Cadman, who hasn't had a great night tonight, and Riccardi, who struggles to bring the ball in as well. So it's once again, it's finding other options when their plan A is not working.
41 points the Dockers lead by, as Patrick Voss, Amos in fact it is, happy to knock this over the boundary line. So Justin Longmuir, a big story, just the pressure relieved off him today, but we have to start asking questions about Adam Kingsley. I mean, the finals was the start of that, I guess, the way in which they capitulated, but the ability to play against them and set up a game plan against them, he needs to find a way, as the head coach, doesn't he, to help his team work through that. And probably the first time since he's come to the Giants that we start to ask those questions of a coach that has impressed everyone to date.
Been a pretty good run for Adam Kingsley so far.
Well, definitely. And I think the issue's always been that defensive pressure. When they are under the pump, they can't slow down those quick scores and they can't get it going back the other way. So they need a system put in place because, like we've talked about tonight, it is happening regularly, but they find ways to get through it. When they're up, but when the pressure comes the other way, they can't find a way to stop it.
Jackson dragged out of the ruck, kicked it up and down the mine shaft to half forward. Taylor sent it back the other way. Toby Green wants 50. He'll get it. Chapman knocked it out of his hands after he took the mark. And Toby will waltz inside forward 50.
And he won't like the questions, Garby, if you're going to ask him. Are you going to ask him at the press conference this week? What's going on?
I think it's time that he starts getting asked some of those questions. And he's pretty good with the media when he is confronted, but it hasn't really happened to a high level yet because he's done pretty well. But it's time for that now, and he'll probably accept that.
This man's been below his best. Toby Green, 40-metre set shot kick is true. He gets his first of the evening. That lead is back to 35 points. They try and claw back some respectability. 29 played in the final term, but it is going to be a week of questions for the Giants, that's for sure.
You could just take the Adelaide game plan and the Fremantle game plan, look at that when you play against the Giants and say that's what we need to do. That's too easy for opposition teams right now.
But the thing is, like, what they do is that it's that kamikaze, go. And what it does is they've got Taylor and Buckley, who are brilliant key defenders. When they do this kamikaze and the ball spills, the opposition sweep up, and it's speed, and it's really hard to defend against. If they could slow that down and not always have to go 100 miles an hour and cough it up and create fast turnovers against, it gives these really good defenders a chance to actually defend. So it's even like last week's win against Geelong. The last couple of minutes, they gave the ball back so many times that if Geelong kicked straight, they wouldn't have won last week. So it's just something in their attack that's making it hard to defend against.
Definitely the most pressurised time of Adam Kingsley's tenure. It's been that way for Justin Longmuir for a while, but this is going to be certainly the best win of his season. 35 points they lead by, and they forced the Giants to go across defensive 50 and turn it over again out for a boundary throw-in. They did beat the Swans here last year in Sydney, only lost to the Giants by 9 points. So for whatever reason, they like the trip to New South Wales. And maybe it's come off in a big way for them today again.
You're talking about the pressure. Maybe it is the pressure in Perth to go where you do get over here in Sydney, and Adam Kingsley and his coaching group can probably just slide it away a little bit, not be under the grill that a coach in Perth or Adelaide or in Melbourne gets that scrutiny. So maybe they come here, they're not opening up the paper and its back page about how poorly they're going and the pressure and this. They're looking at about the Waratahs, how bad they've been or something like that, and it's going, we can just here play footy.
Well, you'd know, you're very sheltered from the Victorian media, aren't you, when you're playing out here in Sydney? So you can definitely slip into that trap of not listening to what's going on down there.
Sometimes they say it's a weakness, that they don't have the fans to put pressure on. You get away with it a little bit. Sometimes there's that argument that it actually works well to have fans who are holding you to account sometimes.
I reckon there's a balance, but if you're a strong club with a strong culture, I think you hold yourself to accountability. And you don't have that scrutiny every week. Like, look, I couldn't imagine what it'd be like in Perth for those clubs and those players that are absolutely under the grill. I remember my time at Adelaide. I was fathomed by coming from Sydney to Adelaide to go, wow, like really, that's like everything in everybody's life's about, what the player did, what this done, how the team's going, and you can understand why sometimes it cracks someone.
It's the number one business in town. In the western half of the country, that is for sure. Giants had it inside forward 50, clearing kick. He's bashed out of play. It'll be tossed back in. 31 minutes gone in the final term. Kept the questions coming through. 0437 774 774. Let us know where you're listening from. No doubt the Freo 2 ruck strategy will be part of our debrief in the post-game. We'll get some reaction from the Fremantle rooms with Declan Byrne in the aftermath as well of what is going to be a comprehensive and a very important victory to get them back even with the ledger at 5-5. The Giants will get to that mark as well. And it's going to be Geelong big winners over Yardabulti. 16-13, 109 to 5-9-39. And importantly there, Jeremy Cameron's kicked 6 goals, so he's found some form. Ash for the Giants. Kicks inside forward 50. Cox belts it away from Toby Green. And the ball is out for a stoppage in the left forward pocket. 0437 774 774. Your questions to Joel Patfull and Ryan O'Keefe in the post-game. We're with you for about another half hour before we send most of our audience to Essendon and the Western Bulldogs tonight.
The Giants have kept fighting. The Dockers lead by 35 points. Time ticking down here at the Sydney Showground Stadium. Saturday twilight footy on ABC Sport. Can they get another one, the Dockers? Brayshaw gives it to Green. Now Whitfield in the left forward pocket for Darcy Jones, who's kicked a couple, snapping on his right, across the face. Cadman's underneath it. The ball evades him. Harvey Thomas gathers it, but he's wrapped up well by Cooper Simpson. He kicked his first goal in AFL football in this final term to cap off what has been a magical day for Walyalup. Ball up in the right forward pocket for the Giants.
Talented man out of the Dandenong Stingrays in the AFL Academy, Cooper Simpson. Wagner, well, it's not really a clearing kick. He put it straight under the head of Switkowski up and down the mineshaft. Banfield is dragged down by Iden, and it's going to be a free kick for Connor Iden right on the 50. Could this be the moment? The crowd wants him to go for it in game number 103. Could it be the first goal in Connor Iden's career with 4 behind to his name so far?
Never kicked a goal.
No,
never kicked a goal.
This will be a big moment for them.
All right, come on. Let's kick it, Connor.
From 52 metres out, Connor Iden gets 50. A good piece of it.
He's got a 50.
Is there a 50-metre penalty here on the mark, or is he going to have the shot again? So he's missed it to the left, and he's having the shot again. A little bit of drama baked in.
Toby got too close to the man of the mark. He's brought it back.
Gosh, Toby.
So take 2 for Connor Iden. A 52-metre kick. And he's going to lay it up. Where's your sense of fear to Connor? Cadman came rising over the top, trying to pull in the mark. Flying shot at goal from deep forward. And it's missed off the boot of Toby Green. It hit the post. Minor score. Narrows that gap to 34. That was disappointing. And just on that Essendon Western Bulldogs game, no late changes. The subs are Lockie Bramble and Dylan Shield.
Well, he had a shot earlier, missed. Maybe he thought, in a 35-point loss, do I want to kick my first goal then?
No, it's like when you duff one off the tee and you get a free hit. I'll be going and trying to launch it again, load it up again.
Maybe he thought, that's not the kind of game I want to kick my first, and I'd prefer it to be in better circumstances. Here's Matt Johnson.
He's had a good game. He's been like an underrated, that third midfield they use in that rotation to chop out the top 3 players. He's had a really good game. I've been really impressed with him.
Developing nicely, Matt Johnson. Only 14 disposals today, but he's tough. He's added a bit to the midfield, but again, it's been Sarong with 35, Brayshaw 29, who have led the way in terms of ball winning, but Bolton with 24 and 3 goals 3, and Frederick with 16 and 3 goals 2. Who have been the match winners.
Been a dynamic and a dominant performance from Freo. Giants with the clearance as the time winds down. Maybe one more for the road here for Freo. Tracy wills it forward, flicks it over the top, and it's a real win of substance on the road for the Dockers. They come to Western Sydney with a plan. They execute it to a T.
and they come away with a 34-point win over the Giants.
We are the Frio Dockers. Frio, way to go. Get them real hot, send them down below. Oh, Frio, give them the old Rio. We are the Frio Dockers. We're the rollers, we're the rockers. We're the mighty Frio Dockers. We're gonna roll them and we'll rock them. We're gonna send them to the bottom. And if they get up, we'll do it again. The Dockers stop at nothing, nothing. Way to go, hit them real hard, send them down below. Oh, Frio, give them the O-B-O. We are the Frio Dockers. Frio, way to go, hit them real hard, send them down below. Oh, Frio, give them the O-B-O. We are the Frio Dockers.
What a win that is for this young Fremantle team, the least experienced team in the comp, the youngest team in the comp. They come to Western Sydney and get their first win at this venue. 1-4. They get back to 500 on the season, and that is a big, big performance from this Freo team to really light a fire under their season. As Garby said, 3 goals to Michael Frederick, 3 to Shea Bolton, 2 to Jai Amos after a quiet first half. Singles to Voss, to Tracy. Cooper Simpson kicked his first in the big time. Murphy Reid kicked one, and Bailey Banfield kicked one. For the Giants, Darcy Jones kicked an equal career best 2. Callum Brown kicked 2 in game 50. Goals to Hogan, to both Greens and to Cadman. But it was a dirty day for the Giants and a win of some real substance and some real resolve for this Freo team. And it's the type of win Ryan O'Keefe and Joel Padfield that potentially Justin Longmuir and his team can build their season around.
Yeah, it was a really impressive display by the Dockers. They came with a clear plan and they executed it to perfection. And they owned the ball. They didn't let Giants just go play that kamikaze ball and get super fast entries into Jesse Hogan, and they forced the turnover. And then when they had the ball, they made the Giants defend, and they owned the game and owned the ball, and then just marched their way forward. And then their big start again. Look, I was looking at one stage ahead of the ball. You had Voss, Amos, and Tracy. That's some big timber down there. And what it did was Taylor had to be engaged. Buckler had to be engaged. Conor had to play undermanned, or Himmelberg was undersized, and it made those Giant defenders have to defend one-on-one. So the game plan that Justin Longmuir and his coaching team came was the perfect game plan, but more importantly, the players were able to execute it.
Well, and they bought in. They bought in right to the final side. I think, towards the end of that last quarter, Garby, you said that the Freo pressure is still coming. There was 3 or 4 tackles inside the defensive 50. They were still coming forward. They were hitting a body. So whatever they've practiced during the week, whatever Justin Longmuir is selling them on, they've bought into it, and it looked like a different team to what we've been hearing about for the last few weeks. So some good positive signs, and there was winners all over the ground. Like you said, their forwards looked good. The midfield absolutely smashed the Giants, and some of the Giants players got some decent numbers. Callahan 24. Yeah, Lockie Ashes had 29 off half back, but he probably turned it over 10 times.
Yeah,
so
there was a lot of junk.
There's a lot of junk off there. So there's winners all over the ground, and it's a morale-building win for a team to come from Perth. It's a long trip for them to come here, and maybe it's just what they needed this time of the year. They've spent some time together in the hotel and had a few chats, and it could get their season back on track.
I wanted to ask you that. There are a fair few Fremantle fans here at the Sydney Showground Stadium, so the Dockers have dispersed to share the win with them and hand over some signed footies. Sometimes when you run to the pump, does it help to get away? Does it say, all right, let's get on a plane, let's get over for a couple of nights in a hotel, escape all the negative media criticism, and try have a real backs-to-the-wall win away from home? Can that often work in your advantage?
I think the travelling, or the interstate teams that travel a lot, mate, you're so used to it anyway. It's not oh, we're on the road. It doesn't make a difference, and I reckon we used to love it because you get together, you're in the hotel, you sit the night before, you get that bonding time, and it was always great. So clubs, like the non-Victorian clubs that travel nearly every second, these sort of trips are great, and you get used to it. You got your routine, you know what to do. It's all sort of stuff. So yeah, maybe. And as I said, we spoke about it earlier. They come to Sydney, they're not opening the page or listening to the radio and it's talking about the doom and gloom of what's going on at Fremantle. It's all this other stuff, and they can just take their mind off it and worry about, hey, we've got ourselves to worry about. Let's worry about it.
There's no doubt they would have talked about that. They would have had a team meeting last night. They would have all, sat down in their room and had their team meeting, built that moment about this is our time. We're away from Perth. We can all get together. This is our, it's us against them. You're in enemy territory. They'll go home tonight to the hotel. They'll celebrate. They'll probably have a few beers together in the bar and celebrate the win. And it's what you need when they've been under pressure for so long.
They're making their way towards the rooms now, so we're not too far away from hearing them sing the Fremantle song. Justin Longmuir last week, it almost looked like he was out of answers in his post-match press conference that loss to Collingwood. He knew what was coming. It was a devastating defeat. At one stage, he said, I don't quite know how we get out of this. A week's not a long time in football because it's changed so quickly for them. Just an amazing victory for him and the narrative changing around his situation at the Dockers right now. A lot of fans who would have been calling for him to go last week were very quiet this week.
Oh, do you know what? A lot of people don't know how hard it is to be a coach. You are trying to manage 40, 50 different personalities and you're trying to get everyone on the same page and singing from the same hymn book and all that sort of. It's tougher than I'll go on a limb here. It's almost one of the toughest jobs you can do in your life, to be a head coach of an elite sports team. Just the pressure. You get people like us going into a press conference and go, what's the answer here? Why haven't you done this? Why? And sometimes you sit there and you haven't actually had a chance to reflect and decompress what the game is. And you go, well, actually, I don't know. And the honesty of that is fantastic. And we're human. And I think, in recent events, we've got to realise we're all human, we've all got feelings and everything like that. So he's got a young team, it's very inexperienced, they're trying something, so let it sort of ferment for a while.
And they tried something, it certainly worked today. They win by 34 points, 13-7, 95 to 8-13, 61. Well, you're up, and Declan, you're in the winners' room.
Massive reception down here. It's a big away supporters base. They got a huge cheer when they came in. Wally up, circling up as they're ready to sing the song for their second win on the road.
So 13-7, 95 to 8-13, 61 the final score, and they both go to 5-5, and now the Giants sit 8th. Well, up sits 9th on the table, so neatly grouped together. Essendon, the Western Bulldogs, to come a little bit later tonight. So that's the next game a lot of our audience will be heading to. There are no late changes there. Lockie Bramble and Dylan Shield are the subs in that game. The other game at Adelaide Oval ended up being a 76-point win to Geelong in the end. So 17-13, 115 to 5-9-39 Yardabulti, who only kicked 2 goals in the second half to Geelong's 12. And Jeremy Cameron has returned to form, 7 goals, 1 for Jezza. So that's an ominous sign for a few defenders around the competition, Joel.
Sorry, I'm back. It is. He's been a little bit quiet this year, hasn't he? So it's good to see him get some form. He's always entertaining watching Jez run around and kick some goals. So I think the whole comp's better off for him in good form.
I'm not sure Port Adelaide fans will be saying that today.
It's different from last week's round where I think was the average winning margin 10 points.
10 points.
10 points or something like that. So what the good thing what Freo can do from this and Longmuir and his coaching staff is can always come back to this game during the year and say, hey, look, we showed this on the road. We showed this against, the Giants are a good team. And they go, so keep drawing back. Be all honest, as I said, they're young and experienced. They're going to have dips and they're going to bounce back. But just saying, we've got it. We've got this in our kit bag. We can play this style. Let's trust us. When we're all on the same page, when we're playing good team footy and sticking to what our tactic or our plan is for the game, and we execute it for 4 quarters, we can win games of footy. So that this is a game where they can draw on throughout the season.
Becomes the North Star for their season to keep tracking back towards. 0437 774 774 for your comments. We'll talk about the Giants in the aftermath as well. Clem from Freo says Freo are not consistent, as we talked about throughout. Today's been great, but let's see how they go next week and the week after that against St Kilda and Geelong. We were awful. And Nick is a Freo fan listening in Victoria. Very happy to get the win, but it's been a pretty stressful season. It would be nice to get a bit more consistency. Hopefully, the JL chat can calm down for a bit. And you know, it's got to off a performance like this.
Well, for all the hysteria, they're 5-5. So it actually hasn't. And they've lost some games to some good teams. They've won some games against some good teams. So they're actually tracking okay. And you almost feel sorry for Justin Longmuir, like he said before, when he didn't know the answer, because maybe he probably knew that that's what they're capable of. So it's hard sometimes being a coach, like you said, Ryan. You know the performance is out there. It's just tapping into it and getting the players to execute it.
Everyone out there, you tell me a team that's consistent this year.
Yeah.
Like maybe Collingwood, Brisbane, maybe something from Hawthorn to a fourth, right down. No one's consistent, and every team has their frustrating moments. So that's the beauty of sport. That's why we love it. So why don't we support our team instead of bagging our team?
So what happens a lot in sport is when a team is starved of success, the discussion around a coach changes a lot when they are viewed to be in that title window, which the Dockers are viewed to be in now. Haven't won a flag in their history. Sarong, Brayshaw, they're not going to have a better on-ball combination than that for a long time. The view is they have to strike now. So when you start to have a couple of slip-ups, that's when the fans get really narky. We've seen it with clubs like St Kilda and Melbourne and Essendon over recent times. There's a bit of panic that sets in because fans are so desperate for success. And that's happened at Fremantle in the last few weeks. And whether they can keep a calm head, and if they're of the view that Justin Longmuir is the right man for the job, they just have to stay calm about it and ignore the outside noise when they have these bad patches, because the competition's so even, they're bound to happen at some stage. It's just whether you can overcome it over the course of the season. I think that's been an issue for Justin Longmuir and the Dockers.
I don't think they're in the window, though. I reckon they're very young.
A lot of people thought they were top four this season coming into
I know, but if you ask a lot of people, think a lot of teams are top four. I thought the Giants would be top four, the Swans would be top four, but they're quite, like, even their keys are young. Like, they're not quite, like, you don't realise to be a premiership in that window, you could have a group of 10, 15 players that have played 100, 150 games together. And then you can go, like if you look at the Brisbane, and now you probably look at Collingwood, they've got this core of players that played a lot of footy together and they're well experienced. Freo don't have that, so they're not in the window at all.
Their most experienced player today was Luke Ryan, who's played 165 games. So that is the most experienced player in that Freo team today. They averaged 77 games.
And you wouldn't say, no disrespect to Luke Ryan, but he's not like a marquee sort of, dominant player in the comp. Like, he's a good, honest player. But, if you look across that team, say, like tonight, you go Jackson, Sarong, Bolton's only just come in there. But they're the sort of teams they're the players we're going to build our team off. And, they're quite young and inexperienced as well.
Well, I think that's the thing that's the positive for Fremantle. That core group of players coming through now, like you said, Jackson, Bolton, Sarong, that midfield is so strong. And they're still young. They've played 100, 150 games. So maybe that's what the conversation should be about Fremantle. Maybe it's not this year, but they've got a great core of players that has the ability to be a premiership team in the next 2 or 3 years at least.
Because if you look at the keys, and this is where the good premiership teams, they've got good key backs and good key forwards that the star midfielders can work off. It's not loaded on. But if you look at Tracy, 65 games, Amos, 56 games, Voss, 12 games. Like, they're not ready as key players.
Even Brennan Cox, 121 games, but he's still 28. He's still got time on his side, and Freo this season at least, and not to say that they're sort of hunting down that premiership or anything, but they do have a bit of time on their side. So they win today, they get to 5-5. They've got Port Adelaide at home next week. We are to Pulty as Sir Doug Nicholls' round continues. Then the Gold Coast away. Then they've got the bye. They play North Melbourne in Perth as a nominal away game, so they play them in Perth. Then they've got Essendon and St Kilda at home. So after the bye, they have 3 games at home, all 3 very, very winnable. All of a sudden, they could, even if they get to the bye at 6-6, they could be 9-6 3 weeks after their bye, and the season opens up.
All 5 games are winnable.
Yeah.
Very much so. But Port Adelaide have been decimated by injury here, and they've just copped an absolute toweling.
And as long as you don't play the Suns in Darwin.
Exactly right, and the Suns are actually playing some really good footy, so that is going to be a tough game. But besides that, if they win 4 of the next 5, look, they're where we're talking about.
So on Justin Longmuir, who's talking to his team right now, will hopefully chat to one of the Dockers away from their list and whether it's a premiership list or not. a lot of Dockers fans will say he's just too nice. He doesn't get angry enough. He's good tactically, he's good with the players, but he doesn't give them enough of a rev up. He doesn't flick that switch, which maybe you need to be a premiership coach. Do you need that, Joel Patfull, Ryan O'Keefe, or has the game changed now that the Craig McRae, Chris Fagan style, which is sort of the arm around the shoulder, that is enough to win a premiership? Because Dockers fans will say we need someone tougher.
I question who's saying that, Garbs.
A lot of Dockers fans have been saying that in recent times.
Dockers fans, like, are they in the inner sanctum? Like, how do they know? Like, you don't need to yell and scream at someone to get your point across. You can be quite... Paul Roos never yelled at us. He had sarcasm as his weapon. That was fantastic. But if you can see the players want to play for him. So if that's the case, and I'd say if you're tactically sound and the players want to play for you, I reckon you're a long way of being the right coach.
I think that's what it comes down to. When a performance like last week or the week before comes out, that's when you question the approach and whether they're getting the best out of the players. But clearly tonight, what he's saying to them is working, and they were motivated, they were energised, and they were executing to exactly what he would have appreciated. So, look, it is a different time in sport at the moment in terms of the approach and coaches. Craig McRae is obviously a great example, but I think what you said, Ryan, it's finding that way to connect to the players. It might not be the bake, and I know there's still coaches out there that give a bake every now and then, but it is finding that way to just connect and get the best out of your players. And whether that's just an honest chat, one-on-one, or whether that's in front of the group, then you just got to find that way with the group and who you're talking to.
The way of coaching and the modernising of coaching is that you've got to coach more individually, even in a team sport. And the out the front baking of anyone it has gone, and it doesn't really work. It is having those honest conversations one-on-one with your player, and knowing that, hey, look, I think I can get better at, you can get better at this, or this is not good enough, or I've got faith in you, or how about I've got a role for you, and have that one-on-one conversation. So you build that trust, and when you got really good trust, that's when good things happen.
Well, it's a mature conversation. I think it's more, I like to see when the coaches treat the players like professional sport, not like school kids. You're not screaming at them, you're not yelling at them, but you're telling them how it is, and you want them to perform like the professional elite footy players that they are.
Yep, so a 34-point win for Walyalup today, and a very, very impressive one at that. Speaking about what's going on at Coburn, let's go down into their rooms and get some insights from their captain. Alex Pearce is with Declan Byrne. Declan.
I'm with the skipper of Walyalup. A big win on the road. Pearcey, how good was that one?
Yeah, it was a great performance. We've been inconsistent throughout this year, and it's something we've spoken about, and also inconsistent on the road. So we wanted to really just make a stand and play a good team game. And I just thought the effort that we brought throughout and the way we played as a unit and played a really mature game. The level of communication out there between the lines, between players, it was a really sort of adult performance, it felt like, and I was really proud of the boys.
Straight into the meeting room after you sung the song, what did Justin Longmuir have to say?
A bit the same, that just has to be the standard. We had a really good week, prepared well, got a couple of training sessions in due to having a bit of a longer break, and that's the sort of recipe to a good performance is putting in the work during the week. We sort of acknowledge that we've been under the pump a little bit, and we've been under a lot of pressure, and it's not despite of the pressure that we come out and perform like that. It's actually living in that disappointment, taking the lessons, improving individually and as a team, and then coming out and performing like that. It's because we had a good look at ourselves over this season, and we've been able to make some adjustments and come out and play a real strong four-quarter game.
Well, you are the skipper, which would mean more meetings, more media. You'd have to face a lot of that criticism. So how's the mood been the last month or so, having those losses stack up and that pressure, especially in the West?
It's not ideal. You have to deal with a few more meetings, internal and external. Everyone's trying to find out the secret sauce and how do we get through it and what's going on. It wasn't supposed to go like this, but look, when it comes down to it, you just have to stick together and believe that our best is good enough and just find what that is. And we've been able to get a bit closer to what just build a bit more of an identity and a bit more consistent, contested footy. I think around the ball today, we were relentless with our pressure on the ground and in the air. And then, as I said, there's a feeling out there when you've got a team of 23 guys out there that are really committed to the cause, and it's really strong, direct communication, and that's what we got today, and that's what we're striving. We don't want to don't want to be a young team that turns up some weeks and not others, and that's what we're really striving to rectify and to just be more consistent.
Before I throw it upstairs, you're a proud Palawan man. It's Sir Doug Nicholls round. You get to wear this amazing jumper designed by Jeff Farmer, Roger Hayden as well. So as a part of leading the Walliop Club, how proud and how special was this week?
Yeah, it's always so special, and I'm really proud of the club for how we celebrate Sir Doug Nicholls round and being able to represent Walliop. And yeah, look, we're not bad as Walliop. We haven't lost yet. We've had a draw in there and however many wins. It's really special, the jumper, every year. I've had the privilege of helping design it, and we got to see a video of the Wiz explaining the jumper and the connection to his home and to his family, and it's really special that we get to have that connection with our past players still. He's coming to the club next week, so it's going to be great to see the Wiz. He always comes to our games in Melbourne, especially against the D's, and he's a really great fella. So look, it's a special couple of weeks, and I'm really looking forward to celebrating or honouring the round next week at home, because we do a really good job of it, and it'll be great to do it in front of the Wiz.
The Walliop captain with us here on ABC Sport, Alex Pearce. Throw it upstairs to our ABC Sport experts, Ryan O'Keefe and Joel Patfull.
Alex, great game. It seemed to me that you guys came with a really clear game plan to play against the Giants in starving them of that fast ball by defending by almost owning the ball and being really meticulous going forward. Is that something you worked on and sort of planned for the Giants?
A little bit, particularly in our front half. We spoke last week, we dominated inside 50s, but tended to just blaze away a little bit. So we spoke about just putting the onus on the kicker to be able to just take the best option, and our forwards did a great job of providing different options, and I thought we were able to find the lead up, and that really tests defence, and it makes it a bit unpredictable. If you're defending against a team that's just going along all the time, it makes it a bit easier to defend. So I think we did a good job centre forward, and I think we were a bit more mature with the ball all over the ground, really. And it's about taking what the opposition gives you and not blazing away. We know if we turn the ball over in that sort of midfield area, they bounce really fast, and a lot of teams do, but their pace and their skill level really hurts you. So we didn't. We still gave them a couple of looks actually in the first half, in particular, but we just defended really well. And when you've got 18 guys out there that are playing the role and playing the right role at the right time, it means that you can butter up a few mistakes, and if the second and third efforts are there, which they were, then it means that there's pressure on the ball, and it gives us a chance down back. And I think as a group we defended really well.
No, you sure did. It looked like it was a great team performance. The turnover was amazing, so that was definitely a highlight. A few key performances in there. Obviously, Shea Bolton was great. Luke Jackson, the number one ruckman as well, was a highlight. What was his role going into the game, and how do you guys feel about his performance?
Yeah, he was great, Dogger. He's been in the news a little bit. He's had a bit going on with, as we all know. But the way that he's given himself to the club, and I thought he was great. I thought he built into the game a little bit. I actually gave him a couple of sprays early. And he just, the more the game went on, the more he kept working and got his hands on it and took some great marks for us. And his follow-up around in the centre square bounce in particular is such a dangerous player to have in there, just another midfielder. Shea was great. I think we're seeing some of his best footy. I love Coxey's role on Jesse Hogan today. Clearly one of the most dangerous forwards in the comp, and I think he did a great job. Neil Erasmus had a job today on Green for a large part of the game, and he came in, an experienced young fella, and did a great job as well. So I think the performance was full of guys committing to the team and playing their role, and that's what it's going to take for us to be successful.
Alex, you left out the liveliest of them all, Fast Freddy. 3 goals for the 9th time in his AFL career.
Yeah, I thought he was going to kick 12 early on. I might have to give him a few set shot lessons through the week, but look, he was great. The energy that he played with Freddie, I think the last couple of weeks, the intent that he's brought to his footy and the way that we've just been connecting really well on field. He's a really good thinker out there in the game, and it was great to see him get rewarded. And often he's the guy who does lead up with the ball and he's on, and gets looked over, that gets kicked over the top of, and it was great that we were able to reward him, and he definitely had a great game for us.
Freo captain Alex Pearce with us on ABC Sport. Alex, one more before we let you go. On the road, under pressure, you come out, you execute a plan, you have a big win. Is it the kind of victory that you can build your season around?
Look, one-off performances haven't been our issue this season. It's about being consistent and making sure that this is the level that we bring, and we were pretty strong after the game with some of the conversations we had around that look, this has to be the standard, and we have to commit to bringing this level of intent and desire every game, and all of our focus will be on next week, and we'll go into it with confidence, but we'll know that we have to do the work during the week, take the lessons, and it's I guess just go again. But consistency. I'm clearly happy with the win, but I want sort of more. I want to build this and have a few good performances. Make sure that we're building a brand that isn't a flash in the pan one week and don't turn up the next. So we're going to be really driving that this is who we are now, and this is the level that we're going to bring.
Next week between Walyalup and Yarrabilty can't come quickly enough. Alex, congratulations on the win. Thanks for your time with us here on ABC Sport.
No worries, thank you.
Alex Pearce with Declan Byrne, the Walyalup captain, after a 34-point win over the Giants. Yarrabilty going down to Geelong by 76. It was Jeremy Cameron 7-1-43 to Yarrabilty 5-9-39 in that game, as beautifully pointed out by a cash-out producer here on ABC Sport. Couple of minutes before we go, Gilby on the text line says, sorry JL, been a bit harsh on you. Hats off to Freo. Dan said, any coincidence with Fremantle's bad performances with the 2 ruckmen and then today's performance with the 1 ruckman? That'll be much discussed during the week as well. Ryan, you've got the votes in the ABC Footballer of the Year?
Yeah, look, it was we sort of spoke about 4 players, and it's like, how do we sort of fit them all in? But I'm going to go 1 vote, Luke Jackson. I thought his effort in the ruck was fantastic, and 4-quarter performance. 2 votes, Caleb Sarong. Early on, he get going, and he was really, really good, and he's just a class player, and they couldn't sort of stop everyone in there. And 3 votes for Shai Bolton. He's fantastic, and finishing with 3 goals.
Yeah, big game last week for Shai Bolton and built on it today. So he was absolutely electric through the middle of the ground, Shai Bolton. So he gets the 3 votes from Ryan O'Keefe in the ABC Footballer of the Year. Both of these teams 5-5. The Giants to play Carlton next week. Freo back at home against Yarrabilty next week as well. For most of our audience, you headed to Essendon and Western Bulldogs next. There are no late changes. Dylan Shield, Lockie Bramble are the subs. And for the rest of you, you'll be heading back to the network. Joel, great to see you.
Thanks for having me. Good times.
Ryan O'Keefe, good double up. Nice double act at the footy for you over the weekend.
Yeah, no, it's been brilliant footy both games.
Great to see you as well, Garby.
Nice to call with you, Joel. Good to see you. What an afternoon for the Dockers.
Absolutely, it was. Thanks to Akash, thanks to Nathan pushing the buttons here, and Declan on the boundary as well. For most of you, you're headed to Essendon and the Western Bulldogs at Docklands with Matt Clinch leading the crew. Everyone else, you headed back to the network. It was Walyalup, too good at the showgrounds by 34 points.